Yo, welcome back to another Pokemon Scarlet Violet VGC video. I'm your host, Jose Rocks VGC, and today we're going to be doing a video on ranking every Pokemon in Scarlet and Violet Regulation C that I believe is somewhat usable and not just one of the pre-evolved forms that you can't use. So we're going to go ahead and get into that. Alright. So we're going to go by each category. So the first category that we have is our unevolved, not viable, and banned. So I pretty much put everything in this category that I feel is unevolved, can't make it work, not enough stats, or of course banned. Right? And so our first category is going to be our top tier. So top tier is what I feel like is a mon that should be at least one or two of these on every team if you want to have a successful competitive team. Good every time is mons that are not top tier, but they're very close to it, and they're pretty much going to be always good additions to the top tier to build around. The next tier after that is going to be decent most of the time. So these are a step below the good every time, where certain situations they're better than what they seem in certain matchups, but overall they're just pretty decent. The next category is going to be, should I really be using this? So should I really be using this is pretty much any Pokemon I feel that it's okay, but something in one of these tiers does what it does much better. So like the only reason you'd be using it is because maybe it's your favorite Pokemon, and that would be the only case for that. So downright bad is just anything I feel is just not usable, has no niche. If you use it, you're just putting yourself in a bad position to lose. And the only reason that you would be using this if it's your favorite Pokemon. Because let's be honest, there are some cool Pokemon that just don't have good stats or good abilities or good typing that helps it out. And then we have LOL. So LOL is just going to be things I feel like are really bad, but they're a meme. So like you might see it on the ladder and it might do something weird, or you might randomly lose to it. And it might cost you a game, but it's really meant to be like, you know, just a fun strategy, right? And then we have Eviolite potential. So this is going to be where I put some mons that are not like in any of these categories, but can be decent only because the Eviolite. Like it has, like you probably won't see it with the Eviolite, but it has potential to be decent with the Eviolite. All right. Turn this music down just a little bit. It's in my ear pretty loud. Turn it down a notch right there. All right. So let's go ahead and get into it. So we're going to go top to bottom. Start up here. So Meowscarada. So Meowscarada is going to go for me and decent most of the time. And this is Regulation C, because in Regulation A, Series 1, Meowscarada would be top tier. But because like things like Fluttermane, Iron Bundle outspeed it even without a booster energy, and you literally have to be Scarf, but if they're booster energy they still outspeed you. They just icy wind you and then their teammate KOs you, whatever's next to it. And Meowscarada, why it's 4 times weak to bug, can't take a fighting type attack, it's kind of frail, so it's going to be pretty much knocked out by anything that moves right after it. So it's decent most of the time because it does have a niche. It's really good in the Ting Lu. It does win the Ting Lu matchup. Ting Lu can't really hit it, and you can pretty much two-shot it with Flower Trick, which makes it usable. But like I said, Fluttermane and Iron Bundle are so common right now, it makes it very hard to play with it. But I really like Meowscarada. It's actually the starter that I chose when I started this game. All right, so our next one is going to be Skeledirge. Skeledirge is going to go and just, should you really be using this? It had a niche in Series 1 as a Dondozo counter, because of Unaware and like Fairy Terra and Grass Terra. You really shouldn't be using it because there's just better fire types and other mons that help you deal with Dondozo, rather just Palafin with Haze, Chimpow with Haze, Amoonguss with Clear Smog, Murkrow with Haze, rather than just playing the Unaware battle with it and trying to beat it that way, because that helps you against the Donzo matchup. But then what are you doing against other mons? Like Flutter Mane outspeeds you, hits you with a saddle ball, forces you to terror. Iron Bundle, Hydro Pump forces you to terror, things like that. So let's move on to the next one. Quax Quavo or Quaxqueval. I'm gonna put it in this category too. I don't want to say it's downright bad, because this with the Focus Sash can be threatening, right? If you're not prepared for it, it's in the end game and it gets off like an Aqua Step and KO something, then it gets if it has Moxie, the Moxie ability, it go ahead and gets a boost, right, to its attack and a boost to its speed, right, and that becomes pretty bad. And it does have the potential to sweep you late game. All right, so Unkalon, right? This is downright bad. I think that's his name, right? All right, let's connect back to Showdown, Team Builder. I believe that's his name. Yeah, Okalon. I mean, it's so uncommon, like you never see it. It's only good ability, maybe Gluttony. Like, I don't know any strategies that I've seen a strategy on Showdown on randoms where it eats the berry and gets like a +1 and it's a defense. I don't even remember what the strategy was. I saw it like one time, but it's not good. Yes, it's stuffed cheeks. It's this. It eats the berry and it gets like +2 and you go for like body press. But it's only good in the random Showdown because the levels are kind of like mixed up. So they made it a higher level than the other stronger mons, so that makes it kind of viable. Other than that, you're not gonna see either the male or the female. You're not gonna see these in VGC. They're bad. They're not even in the LOL because it's not anything that's funny. Like you see it, you just, if it's on the field, it's just like almost like it's like it's not there. Like you can really literally ignore it and target this teammate. Spite Ops. Now this is gonna go in the, I want to put in the LOL, but it's just so frail. It doesn't do anything. It can't even surprise beat you. It's nothing that they can do to surprise beat you, right? It's really bad. I know the meme is going around the internet. Spite Ops is the best Pokemon in Gen 9. It's hilarious, but it's actually the worst. It's probably worse than like some of these in this category right here. It's really bad. I wouldn't recommend it. Now this has been rising in usage. I've actually lost to this on ladder, funny or not. This with Life Orb or Choice Band, I'm gonna put it in a decent most of the time. It's actually pretty threatening with the first impression. It forces you to protect. If you use that next to like an Iron Bundle or something, then you can just encore his teammate. If you had Chen Pao on the team, like first impression plus Sucker Punch, Choice Band, Life Orb is doing a lot of damage to anything. Then if you Bug Terror, Dark Terror, double dip, this is really strong. Like I did lose to it. I saw it about 3-4 times on the ladder this past week. I think I lost to it once on stream, and I beat it once on stream, and then 2 times in practicing, I beat it and I lost to it. So I'm like 2-2 against it. It's real. I feel like it's really good. I always wondered why more people didn't give it a chance, because first impression with Choice Band and Bug Terror is actually like maybe the best Pokemon in the game right now that can use Bug Terror. So I feel like it could be good. Now Jump Left, this just run a regional, Portland regional. Congrats to Joe. He just won Portland again. He's the back-to-back Portland regional champ, and he went to the finals 3 times in a row, lost 2, and he finally got a win. It was coming, so he made this. He showcased how good Jump Left can be. It's good every time. If you have the sun up, this thing, even though it's like frail and it's like back in the other gens, you might like laugh at it and be like, why are you using this over like Venusaur or Lilligant? But the Encore pressure plus the Leaf Storm to just get rid of Iron Bundle is really good. Then the Water Terror so it can stay on the field a little bit longer. And the thing that hurts me the most about this thing is not even the Sleep Powder, right? When I play against it, it's the Encore. Because you want to get around Sleep Powder by like maybe protecting and like attacking it with something else, since it can't like speed up Torkoal like Lilligant and make Torkoal move first, and you want to just KO this thing with its partner. But if you protect and this thing like protects or it terrors and you don't KO it, like your other teammate can just get encored and force you to have to switch, which is really hard to play around, right? It is ways to beat this, and the more like since Joe won with it, It's gonna be popularized. People are gonna come up with strategies to like really counter it. I think it'll drop down to like decent most of the time. For right now, it's good every time until people come up with consistent counters. But like I said, it's gonna be used a lot just because it won a regional, and then you're gonna actually see like it drop in usage once people learn how to counter it. So Talonflame is gonna also go in this category, good every time. You can't go wrong with this. Fast Tailwind is the only other priority Tailwind user in the format besides Murkrow, and Murkrow is making a resurgence back, playing along the Sun teams. But while Murkrow was down, Talonflame was a premier Tailwind user. This next to like ground types like Garchomp, Tusk is really threatening. Also, it carries Taunt, so like if you want to try to lead like Trick Room into it, and the Talonflame user reads that you're gonna go for Trick Room, he can always taunt you. And it's not Prankster. So the thing about this taunt is that it can, if you try to lead like Psychic Terrain and you don't have a redirection user, or your redirection user gets knocked out, this thing can taunt you right in the Psychic Terrain, which is pretty good. I like Talonflame. I wish that its Gale Wings ability worked even when it took Chip, because I feel like maybe in a couple generations ago, it might have been busted. But I feel like in a current metagame, like with the power level the way it is, I feel like it wouldn't be busted. It would be really good. People had to find better counters for Talonflame, but I feel like it'll put it on the top, because once Whimsicott and all those come back, man, this is pretty much gonna be irrelevant, because Whimsicott is just way better than Murkrow, right? And it gets Sunny Day. It doesn't get Haze, but Whimsicott gets so many other tools like that just makes it way better than Murkrow. All right, Palmont. So Palmont is a Series 1, Series 2 GOAT, in my opinion. I'm going to put it in decent most of the time, because it's not going to be something that you see on every team, but when you do see it, the fake out pressure plus, stab thunder, double shock, and then also, the revival blessing is always pretty good. Like revival, just the fact that you can put this on a Donzo team and potentially get your Donzo back after it goes down, it's pretty good. Houndoom. Now I saw Cybertron make a team with this, or play with a rental team. It's bad. I'm not gonna lie to you, it's bad. He played on it with the team that he used, a rental that he got from someone that built around this to make it decent. But even in the video, like, he won a couple games with it, but he still like the wins weren't clean. So like, even though I can get a win, like, it's not worth using. It's bad. It's so frail. It takes up your focus sash slot. If you don't run a focus sash, anything is one shot in it, even if it's not super effective. Like, it's very frail. Gumshoes. There's nothing to really talk about this. It's bad. I've never seen it. Greedent. This is a fun Gen 8 mon that used to be good in like singles and with some strategies. Greedent's bad this gen. I'm sorry. I can't really do anything. If we can order these, I think Talonflame's above this. Yeah, let's go like that. Just put these in a little bit of order. Might get too many of them up there to keep them in order. Greedent's better than these, but it's still really bad. Like, yeah, Houndoom might be better than these two. Cause just for the flash fire, because it can't even wall Torkoal, because Torkoal can just hit it with Earth Power. So I guess maybe Flying Terror, this thing walls Torkoal. So I guess that gives it a better niche. Flash fire is a really good ability. Greedent, like I just really don't know how to use it. Like, I know it has the cheek pouch, like the Dene, and those type of strats, and it's kind of bulky. But like fighting is so common right now. Great Touch running around. Great Touch is one shot. So like force you, outspeeds it, one shot you, force you to Terra. Would you really want to waste your Terra on this? I don't think so. Sunflora. This is pretty bad too, right? Nothing to really talk about Sunflora. Kricketune, love bug types, not good. Vivian. Now, Vivian is a bug type that I never really got to play with until this gen. I haven't built my own team around it, but I plan to. It's actually, I'm gonna say decent most of the time. I want to put it up there. I'm putting good every time. This thing with Friend Guard plus an Earthquake user like Ting Lu, It's really good. It gets Pollen Puff, it gets Tailwind, it gets Sleep Powder, it gets Follow Me. It's actually really underrated. Like I said, I just started playing competitive Pokemon. Well, Pokemon, I've always played it since I was a kid, but I stopped playing it for about 10, 11 years. And I just started back playing it in the pandemic, right, during 2020. And I was actually playing Sword and Shield, the game I came back to. So it wasn't in Sword and Shield. So this is my first time getting to use it, even though it's been around before then. And I actually like it. I think it's a better moth than any of the other moths, like Frost Moth, Butterfree, Dustox, Venomoth. I might be forgetting another moth, but I think it's the best moth. It has a lot of good utility. I'm actually going to be building a team around it soon. I really like it. I want to try it out. Vespiquen. This thing is bad. Don't use it. It's niches that it's supposed to be like Roost and Toxic and stuff like that, but I don't even think it gets Toxic this gen. And Attack Order and Defend Order, like, your 4 times weak to Rock. It's not that good. Corviknight. Corviknight is good every time. This is a good mon that people just, for some reason, I don't know why more people don't use it. Maybe it's because its base attack is not even above 90. But I've been using this with Choice Band, and it does so much damage. Choice Band, Brave Bird, and I actually thought about making it Flying Terror just to get even more damage out those Brave Birds, because I made it Fire Terror, but I found myself not even able to really click Fire Terror that much based on what team I'm using. It doesn't really require this to go fire because my team, uses a lot of ground moves, and it should keep its typing and work better alongside them. So I'm thinking about, double dipping into the Flying Terror just to make that team a little better. Right? But Corviknight, yes, it's really good. Also, like I said, that's just one set I told you about. There's another set that you can do where it's just, support, where it helps his team with like Tailwind and things like that. And then you can also go with the Iron Defense Body Press set. I don't recommend Iron Defense Body Press. For some reason, I just feel like this format, like with all the haze, because Dondozo is so good and it ignores boost and forces people to have to bring like Clear Smog and Haze to deal with Dondozo, which kind of like, pseudo deals with like mons that want like this and Garganackle that want to go for Iron Defense and Body Press. Like, it's not even Clear Smog. Well, it can't hit this, but you get what I'm saying. Haze is not even meant to deal with this. Like, it's not meant to counter this. But because Donzo is so common, like, people just have it and it just counters you anyway. Like, oh, you want to Iron Defense? That's fine. Go ahead and go for 3 of those. Waste 3 turns. I'm just gonna haze you, right? Chansey. I haven't seen Chansey, right? This is, it's a singles GOAT. Eviolite is bulky. I'm not really a singles player, but I've tried singles and I've seen how annoying it can be. It was very good in Sword and Shield alongside Shuckle. Thank God Shuckle's not in this game because that strategy was so toxic to me. I felt like it really didn't take skill. I'm not against anybody going for it if you just want to, to each his own. If you want to have fun, play the way you want to play. But like, it's not the type. It's kind of like this strategy with Shuckle is kind of like ally switch to me. Like, those strategies don't require skill. Doesn't really make you better. It's like going for like Fissure. Is that like, because you won with Fissure, that really means you were the better player? Did you make the better player? Did you just get lucky? And even though this is not luck, it's like you set it up so it's like unkillable. Like, and then you go for like double teams and Sword and Shield. So then I guess it is kind of based on luck, because then you're just hoping that your opponent misses forever, right? And then you just stall it out with like Seismic Toss and Toxic and stuff. Like, it's just, it is a toxic Pokemon in my opinion. I'm not a fan of it. I think it's bad this gen. I think, with a lot of haze running around, you can't even get off the double teams anyway. Blissey's kind of the same thing. It's not as bulky as Chansey because it's Eviolite, but it has this other niche like, Natural Cure and stuff, so it can switch out and heal. They're both pretty bad. They could both go in there. Azumarill. Azumarill is good every time. This is very underrated. The premier water type is probably, Donzo and Palafin. I think Azumarill's right in that top 5. I'm pretty sure there's another water Pokemon I'm missing that's pretty good. But it's in the top 5. I want to say it's top 5 water types. The fairy, hits all the ruin mons for a lot of damage, especially Ting Lu, because Ting Lu drops your special attack, not your physical. Chi Yu's physical bulk is not that good, right? So you're still doing a lot of damage with that. Plus you have the water type attack. It's good into Chen Pao. He can't hit you, with any dark move, ice move, fight move. You resist all those, right? He can't do anything with you. Like, this just complete Chen Pao counter. I'm actually gonna be making a team with Azumarill on it as well. I actually want to use this, and this. I want to use all 3 of these. I haven't used them yet, and also this, because I like to try to use like every Pokemon that I can, except for like the ones in this column. But I've even made like teams around these before, so like I want to try to build as many as I can. All right, Masquerain, right? It has Intimidate. It's not bad. It's way better than these, right? It's way better than these. And actually, Houndoom's better than these. Matter of fact, Chansey, you're right down there. Blissey is not as annoying as Chansey, so I'll put it like maybe right here. Chansey, I can't stand it, man. But back to Masquerain. So Masquerain, the reason I put it here is because it is a water type. It's flying, so it's immune to ground type attacks. I think it's pretty good, decent into Ting Lu. It's not a counter, but it can annoy it. And it has Intimidate, so it intimidates it. It has to hit you with a dark move, which is neutral. So it's intimidated neutral attack, and Ting Lu attack is already not that high. So it can irritate Ting Lu. It can't, I don't want to say it can beat it, because Ting Lu can carry a rock type move that can probably outlast you. And then with it dropping your special attack, you're not going to be doing too much with water attacks, right? With this thing is, you're not going to run, it's not going to have a lot of special attack investment anyway. But it does have an Intimidate. But it goes in here because should you really be using this, like there's better Intimidators in the format. Arcanine, Gyarados, which is similar typing. This is bug and flying, but Gyarados water and flying, but Gyarados is better into the format. It's more bulky. You can Terra Gyarados. It's actually something that you want to Terra so you don't die to a Freeze Dry or Thunderbolt or a random Thunder type attack. You don't want to waste your Terra on this, right? I think it does get Tailwind, which is also a decent niche. But yeah, this is the category that I want to put it in. All right, Floatzel. So Floatzel, I lost to this twice, but not in this regulation. It was regulation A, Series 1. It hit me with a Choice Band, Water Terra boosted Wave Crash, and it just one-shot something. I can't remember what it was, but it was a decently bulky Pokemon, right? And it just one-shot me in the rain, and I just didn't expect that amount of damage coming from this thing. If there wasn't like better Swift Swim users, or not really better Swift Swim users, just better rain abusers, even though Palafin is not a Swift Swim user, it has Jet Punch, right? So that in the rain is just better than this. Plus Palafin gets like Haze, it's more bulky, it's stronger. You just want to use Palafin over this. But this is not bad. But should you really be using it over another water type in the rain, right? Because if you're not using rain, you're not going to use this. Palafin functions in rain and outside of rain, right? This, if it's not in rain, it's not doing anything. It's just getting one shot. It's like the frailest thing on the planet. Clodsire, it gets unaware. It gets water absorb. It's not downright bad because of water absorb. It can kind of like wall Palafin. Then it has unaware too, so it can like, I think it gets fissure. It can annoy Donzo a little bit. I'm gonna put it, should you really be using this? It's one of those things that's like, it can counter certain things. If you want to use Clodsire, if you love it, you can make it work. But you're gonna be having a hard time with it if you play with it. Golduck, same thing with Floatzel. It's the same thing as Floatzel, just on the special side instead of the physical side. This is a physical attacker. This is a special attacker. They do the same thing, but what holds Golduck back is that it doesn't get access to muddy water. It gets Hydro Pump and Surf. Surf is funny because I used to do a strategy in Series 1 where I would Surf and Helping Hand with my Pelipper and just deal damage to my Pelipper but still get the Surf off. But it's like Life Orb, Water Terra boosted, and it would still do like mad damage across the board. But now like Water Terra Donzo with Surf is just kind of getting more popular, and it's better than this, right? It's much better than this. You can just use that and you'll have a better time than trying to make Golduck work right now. But it's pretty much the same as Floatzel, just hits on a different side of the attack spectrum. Here's another Swiss Swim user, Dreadnought. Now I think Dreadnought is decent most of the time. It's actually better than these two because of the rock coverage that it gets. Speedy rock slides are very annoying to deal with. I love sand teams. Sand teams are my favorite weather right now. Man, I love Lichen Rock Tyranitar. It's one of my favorite combos. So the rock slide spam is very powerful. Even though, you know, it's only a 10 or 15% chance to flinch. I believe it's 10. Let me check this to verify that. Dreadnought. Rock slide. All right, so it's actually a 30% chance to flinch. So that's even better than I remember. Yeah, so it's 30% chance to flinch. I believe that's pretty good. It's a Swiss Swim user. Choice band on this. Choice band rock slides. Choice band liquidation. This is really good. And this also pops up alongside that team I was just telling you about, right? The team with Donzo with Life Orb, Surf. Because this comes in the back. If they give it a Donzo and the range still up, like this comes in the back and just helps clean up, right? It's really good. I'm actually going. I used to use it in Series 1 with Grass Terror alongside Pelipper. It was like one of the first teams I made in Scarlet and Violet that I got to Master Ball with. So I was pretty much on board with this early on. It is pretty good, but I'm using it in decent most of the time. It's not good every time because if this gets caught out of position, like outside of the rain ends or something outspeeds it, like on Tailwind or something like that, it's not having a good time. Like 4 times a week to grass, like it's gonna get one shot. It's not the bulkiest mon. It doesn't take sucker punch as well. I know that Terra Dark King Gambit is running around right now. It can just sucker punch this thing, KO it. So Wigglytuff. Wigglytuff gets competitive. So it's supposed to be a counter to Intimidate, but it doesn't really counter Intimidate, right? Because there are other, you just use a Defiant user, right? And there might not be another competitive user in this format. I'm not, it's slipping my mind. It might be. I know Gothitelle gets it, but you're gonna always want to run Shadow Tag on Gothitelle. Just use Defiant user, right? It might get +2, but it's so slow and it's frail. Then it like. Steel type is like not as common, but its weaknesses actually like to steel and poison are not that common. But it only has HP. Its defense and special defense is like super low. Like it doesn't complement it staying alive. Even if you invest in its bulk, then even at +2, if you don't invest in anything else but its bulk, that +2 is still not doing any damage, so it's not worth it. All right. Gardevoir. I'm gonna put this in this category because it's not bad. Focus Sash, Ghost Terror, Trick Room is good. Scarf Gardevoir in Series 1, Regulation A is pretty good. I don't disrespect this mon because when I see this, it's actually better than all these, right? Yeah, it's better than these. When you see it, it can beat you in a game because you might expect it to maybe be Scarf sometime, and then it just goes for a Trick Room. And if you're like caught out of position in a Trick Room and it has a teammate like that could just get a free switch in, come in and sweep you, then you lost because it's set up Trick Room, right? Because you didn't cover for it being Focus Sash. Same thing with Gallade. Like both of them, they kind of do the same thing, just one special, one physical. They can catch you out, and this actually might be decent most of the time. It's better than, and I say it's better because it gets the ability Sharpness and Sacred Sword, which ignores Dondozo's boost. So it's actually like decent into hitting Dondozo for decent damage to help you get rid of it. It can't one-shot Dozo without a crit, but it helps you get rid of Dozo quicker, right? So in that sense, it is better. They do kind of do the same thing with the Focus Sash Trick Room. I've only seen Focus Sash on this thing, and it also gets Wide Guard, which kind of irritates, Rock Slide users, people that want to use Heat Wave, any type of people that want to use spread moves. It can irritate you because you have to respect it because it usually always has it, right? Hypno. This is like one of the worst psychic types in the game. Just don't use it. I can't even think of a strategy that you can use with it. I actually didn't even know it was in this generation. I totally forgot about it. Also, my spelling. How do you spell this thing's name? I don't even remember how to spell his name. I haven't seen it in so long. Sorry about that, guys. Hypno. All right, so insomnia, forewarn, like it doesn't matter if it alerts you of a super effective move, it's gonna get knocked out. And I guess inner focus might be the best on it. Does it get trick room? Of course, it's psychic type, so it does get trick room, right? What other support moves does it get? Encore, that's pretty good. Thunder Wave is pretty good. Taunt, I mean, it can be annoying, but its stats are like 85 HP, 70 defense. It actually can be like a special wall. Like if you go like this and just go for trick room and it can't be flinched. Actually, with it can't be faked out and having trick room, like this with a like focus sash and a redirection user is pretty consistent at getting up trick room. So I wouldn't say, I actually want to change my opinion on it. I would say it should be in this category because it gets inner focus and trick room. Let's say, should you really be using this? There's better trick room users. Farigarath prevents priority. Bronzong's a better psychic type trick room user. There's better psychic type trick room users. Miascarada is even maybe a better trick room user than a Gallade. So should you really be using this? You can make it work if you like Hypno. I totally forgot that this existed. That's why I just threw it in there, but I kind of forgot that it gets inner focus. It has a good ability. It has a decent move pool, taunt, things like that. It can stop Among Us from sporing. Psychic, even with like no special attack, it has no special attack period, right? It's kind of weak. It can still, hit Among Us for a decent chip. And Gengar is kind of the same thing. It's a ghost type. It's better than that though. It's right around here. It is poison. So you can hit anything that like a lot of the grass terror Pokemon. I like to go grass terror to get around Among Us and things like that. It does threaten Fluttermane, since Fluttermane is currently is running mostly booster energy and focus sash. So like you can surprise it with a focus sash and KO it with Shadow Ball. But if you're using Gengar, they know your focus sash, right? Don't use this though, because you should just use Fluttermane, right? Fluttermane, Gholdengo, Annihilate, they're the better ghost types, right? So you should. Why would you be using this? Mousehold. Mousehold is good every time. It's actually the better redirection user than Vivian. This thing is a problem, right? You don't know whether it's going to be a wide lens population bomb. Scary, because if it normal terrors and you get caught in a position where it outspeeds you and you don't have like a steel type or a ghost type or a rock type, it could pretty much one shot anything that's not one of those types, right? With the normal terror. But then it'll catch you off guard because you expect this to be supportive and go for like Friend Guard plus Follow Me and then Encore and stuff like that. And then it can just deal a lot of damage. Like, it's a really good mod. It's very creative. I like the idea of it. What they did with it is very cute. It does what it's supposed to do. You're never gonna like make your team worse by adding this to your team. If you're looking for to complete like a balanced team, like you have your Fake Out, you have your Intimidate, you have your Speed Control, you want to have Redirection, it's a good option for that slot. Pikachu. So the reason I didn't put Pikachu in here is because it does get Light Ball, right? And Pikachu's decent. But should you really be using it? If you're going to use an electric type with Fake Out, just use Palmont, right? Don't even use Raichu, because Palmont's better than Raichu now. I believe they're the same speed tier, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, Palmont's 105. So Raichu's faster. So that's the niche that Raichu has over it. Raichu's 115, if I remember correctly. Oh, Raichu's 110. So Raichu's faster. But Palmont's better because he gets Revival Blessing. Raichu has Lightning Rod, which draws in electric type attacks, which is better than Volt Absorb. But some people just choose to run this too. And, go with like the Mach Punch. Close combat. Like, these are doing a lot of damage to Iron Fist, right? And then Fake Out. Probably Revival Blessing. You can also run double shock too. Plus the Palmont has new toy syndrome, right? It's new. It's one of the new Pokemon that's out. It does the same niche and it has the extra fighting type. that makes it more interesting than Raichu. So if both Raichu and Palmot are better, Raichu's like right around Gengar level, right? If both of these are better than Pikachu, why would you be using Pikachu? Like it does probably hit harder than them with electric type attacks. And I could see like a random team out there because Gyarados is so common throwing on a Pikachu with Fake Out and just deal with Gyarados. But like if they see Pikachu and you lead it and they have Gyarados on the field, they know that you're gonna go for an electric type attack into it, right? So they're gonna Terra, they're gonna switch. And you are forcing them to do that, but like it can just Terra and then just like probably knock you out because Pikachu's so frail. So I don't think it's worth it. Dachsbun. This Pokemon is good. I slept on this thing. I'm gonna say it's decent most of the time. It's right around. It's just like this. Like you sleep on it, and then it comes on the field. In series 1 and 2 next to Armor Rouge. Now it's next to Chi-Yu with Scarf, Lava Plume, and this thing can get to plus like 6 defense in like 3 turns. Like and just threaten you with body presses. It gets Yawn, it gets Substitute, it gets Wish, Protect. It can stay on the field a long time if you don't bring special attackers and you don't get rid of it with like a Steel type attack early, then you're in trouble, right? And then the thing that caught me is that this doesn't look like a fairy. Maybe it's because like the coloring, I don't know. I just when I'm playing early Scarlet Violet VGC, for some reason I just thought it was like a fire type or something like that, but it's actually a fairy. So I didn't even go for like a Steel type attack into it, and I could have. And then once I revealed it had a Steel type attack, it tear it in the Steel, and then I just got rolled over by it, right? And then also it's immune to fire type attacks. So like it walls Torkoal. Torkoal can hit it with Earth Power, but that's not really doing much. It's decently bulky. It's a good Pokemon. I recommend it. Let's go to the next. So Vigoroth. So Vigoroth is one of the ones I wanted to put in this Eviolite potential. It's not that good, but with Eviolite it can do decent damage. I used to try it a long time ago when I used to play Pokemon as a kid. I used to put it on my team and I used to make it like not evolve in the game and then just use it and not get Slaking because Slaking ability was so bad. But it's one of those ones I feel like if you like it, you want to use it, you can probably like get a knockout with it, but it's not going to be good most of the time. Slaking is just bad. You have to use like Grafai with this thing. I haven't seen anybody else make another strategy this generation. There's no Galarian Wheezing or regular Wheezing with neutralizing gas. So you got to use Grafai, right? And do the doodle to get rid of its ability. But people are going to see that coming. Like after literally the first week of Scarlet VGC, I solved this plus the doodle strategy and instantly it was solved. Like people knew how to solve it. Also with all the dark types running around, you can't doodle the Ruin Pokemon. You can't doodle because they're dark types, so it don't work on them. So you can't doodle any dark types, and it's a lot of dark types running around, right? And you can't doodle what else? The Paradox Mons. You can't copy their ability. So you can't doodle the Paradox or the Ruin Mons, and those are like the most common Pokemon right now, right? So there's no point in doing that. So actually, where's Grafai? Is it anywhere near? I feel like I'm over. Here he is, right here. We'll just go ahead and skip over to him and put him right next to Slaking because they go together. Like they're like the same strategy. Like if you can, build a team around Grafai, show it to me. That works. Let me know. Send it to me. Post it. I want to check it out because I want to see if you can make something work with Grafai that's not Slaking. But yeah, those two go together. They're pretty bad. It does get Prankster, but it doesn't get like Fake Out, stuff like that. So Serena is underrated. It's decent most of the time. It's actually, I think it's better than these two. The Queenly Majesty blocking priority attacks. It seems like whenever I use this, for some reason, it's almost like people forget that it has that ability, and they still like try to do priority stuff. It don't be Fake Out. It be like random like jet punches or like ice shard, like stuff like that. People just go for sucker punches. People try to go for that and they forget that it has that ability and they just fail and it costs them to waste a turn. And in that regard, this ability alone makes it good. It's decently bulky. You can invest in the bulk side. It doesn't need the speed. It's a good Pokemon. I like it. I forget this thing's name. Forgive me, y'all. It's a new Pokemon, and I don't see it that often, so I kind of forgot its name. Arboliva, that's what it is. Yeah, that's a hard name to remember. It's Arboliva. I seen this on Trick Room Teams. It was good in the first 2 series. It was decent, but it's not that good. It's not downright bad because you can make it work. It does have a. It's like a Nerf Rillaboom, right? Like it does nothing good like Rillaboom with like no grassy glide, but it does bring out the grassy terrain, right? But then it doesn't have fake out. It does have access to like ground type moves just like Rillaboom, and it's a special attacker. It has a decent special attack. It's not bad. If you get caught out of position and you're like weak to it, like Donzo or something like that, it can go for Leaf Storms into you. Donzo actually can't deal with this fast. If you invest on the physical defense, this can handle Donzo. You just keep Leaf Storming it, and if Donzo's unaware, it's gonna ignore your stat drops, right? So you can constantly Leaf Storm it. It can't really hit you with Wave Crash. Earthquake is resisted. If it goes for Order Up, if you're invested in physical bulk and you got like maybe a screen up or something, it can't really hit it like that, right? Pseudo Wudo. This is bad. This is a bad Pokemon. It's Rock type. Rock type is decent defensive. It's a decent defensive Pokemon. Excuse me, need some water. It's a decent defensive Pokemon, but what is it really doing, right? If it can move before you, it can hit you with like one of those wood hammers or the crashing rock move. I forget what it's called, Rock Wrecker. But other than that, like, it's not gonna move first because it's so slow, right? Even in Trick Room, there's things that outspeed it in Trick Room that's slower than it that you want to use. It can't take any hits, right? Even resisted hits, it takes a lot of damage from it, so just don't use that. Lycanroc. Now, I've been using Lycanroc. I'm telling you, this is the top tier, man. Lycanroc outspeeds all of the booster energy Pokemon. Anything with a booster energy, Iron Bundle, Flutter Mane, you outspeed them, and then most of them are like not the bulkiest of mons, so Rock Slide is doing significant damage to it. Flutter Mane's physical defense is abysmal, it's garbage. Rock Slide is even neutral hits doing like 50%. Iron Bundle, Rock Slide is weak to Rock Slide, so it's still doing about 50%. It gets Endeavor, so it can counter Donzo if Donzo hits it, taking down to 1 HP. If you got Tyranitar next to it, you Endeavored and Sand knocks out Donzo, so that makes it a Donzo counter. It gets Bulldoze. The strategy I've been using with this team, this is the team that I'm trying to get to number 1, right? Also has Corviknight. The strategy I have is max speed Tyranitar. You can go for Bulldoze and Flying Terra Tyranitar and outspeed like certain things that are not invested like fully in speed, like Flutter Mane. If it's not a max speed variant, you can outspeed it and then just one-shot it with Rock Slide. Lycanroc is good in my opinion. Ghost Terra, I think, is the best Terra on it. It's also some other Lycanroc sets that I want to explore that I haven't used, like a Celerock. Like, that can catch people off guard because that's a priority move that people are not expecting priority from Lycanroc, right? I think I'm going to build another Lycanroc team and try it with a Celerock, so that way I have, one Lycanroc with Endeavor, one with Bulldoze, and one also with Accelerock. It has so many different things. It goes for Ghost Terror, it gets around Fake Out. I feel like Protect is good on it just to get around Fake Out so you don't have to burn your Terror. And then it has Endure, right? You can go for Endure, which keeps you surviving on 1 HP. That's really good. Give me a second. Let me get some water. All right, my apologies, y'all. I'm back. Just had to grab some water real quick. My voice was cracking. Colossal. So I've piloted Colossal to top 300 on the ladder. It's a Pokemon that I don't want to reveal yet, that I use next to it that makes it pretty good. So I'm gonna talk about Colossal more when I get to that Pokemon, right? But Colossal's pretty good. I like it. It's decent most of the time. You might think that should you be using this? Yes, you should be using it. And what's the reason why? Because once you hit this with a water move, it outspeeds pretty much everything that's not on Tailwind. If you go with a speed nature, it can even outspeed Lycanroc, right? And then you can just go for similar thing like Rock Terror boosted Rock Slides. It's pretty threatening. The only thing is like Lycanroc is immediately active when it's next to sand, and this you have to hit it to activate it. So that's why it's not as good as Lycanroc. Plus, it's like without tearing, it's like 4 times weak to water, 4 times weak to ground. So that's not good. But it's decent, still decent most of the time because people are gonna respect it. If it's on the field, they know what Colossal does. It's been a GOAT since Gen 8 with the Dynamax and the Vocalift. It's still good right now with rocks. Like rocks are still doing a lot of damage. Staraptor. Staraptor's it's gonna go in should you really be using this. It's an Intimidate user. I put it right here. It does get Final Gamut, but if you want to go with a Final Gamut mine, I recommend Lucario or even Annihilate, which is probably the best Final Gamut user because it has the most HP. It is faster than those, but it doesn't have as much HP as the other ones. And I actually got a couple wins with this in Series 1. What I did was I did a Flying Terror because it gets the ability called Reckless, right? So let me show you all something. Because this is doing so much damage. Sorry about that. Sorry about that. All right. Star. Staraptor. All right. So what I was doing was going with the Reckless ability, right? So then I would go Flying Terror here. And then I would give a Choice Scarf. And then Brave Bird. I was literally one-shotting everything with this, people not expecting it. It was outspeeding a lot of things. It was very fun to use. If you didn't have Focus Sash or if you wasn't like a rock type or steel type, then it was doing mad damage to you with this move. It's kind of similar to what I'm using now with Corviknight with the Brave Bird with Choice Band. That's just why I was thinking of going with the Flying Terror on my Corviknight because this is doing mad damage. If you do want to use Staraptor, I recommend giving this set a try with the Reckless. People, even if they don't see you Intimidate on lead, they're not going to expect this because it's just not common, right? Like, who's really using Reckless Staraptor? But I think it can be good in that sense. Luxray. Luxray is one of the coolest looking Pokemon ever. Like, I love dogs. I don't know if it's like a dog or a lion. I do believe it's a dog. Or maybe like a fox or something like that. It goes right here with Staraptor. It's an Intimidate user, but like just use Arcanine, just use Gyarados. They're better Intimidate users. Even the Tauros twins or triplets, they're better than this. The Paldean Tauros triplets, they're better than this because they have the fire and water. They're faster. They get like Rage Bull, which breaks screens. Just use them. Luxray is cool though. Luxray looks awesome. Like I love like how it looks like a dark type, but it's not. I think if they gave this dark type, like Dark Electric, that would make it even better. It would probably ride. If they had like a power creep and got like a little more speed and made it dark type, I think it would be really good. It's sad that it didn't get a mega form during the mega generation that I heard about. Manectric got one, right? But this didn't get one. Ampharos. Ampharos is it's pretty good on showdown randoms when it can be like level 90 going against level 70 Pokemon. Other than that, it's pretty bad. Like it's just like Gradient. Like it doesn't do anything. It does get Dazzling Gleam, so you can Fairy Terror, Choice Specs, like Electrotypes, Choice Specs, Dazzling Gleam. It can be decent, but it's not that good. Don't use it. Lilligant. Lilligant's good every time. Lilligant's one of those Pokemon that in Team Preview, you have to have answers for it, right? You have to think of it. If you see this in Team Preview, you're not just going to be like, okay, it's one of these, I can ignore it, right? It's going to be right up there like, okay, I need to lead to beat this. If I don't lead against Lilligant plus Torkoal, then it's just gonna sweep. Now, if you see this on the team without Torkoal, then you just put it down here, like, because what is it doing without Chlorophyll, right? I mean, it still might be decent. Actually, it might be right here without Chlorophyll, but if it's Chlorophyll with Torkoal, it threatens Iron Bundle, can force it to Terra, force it out, outspeeds the booster energy, Leaf Storm, Sleep Powder. It gets Encore. I won, but I played against an Encore one that made the game tricky. I wasn't expecting Encore. I usually expect Leaf Storm, Sleep Powder, After You, and Protect, but it had Encore, so it dropped the Sleep Powder. So it had After You, Leaf Storm, Protect, and Encore. All right, so that was kind of scary because if you protect in front of it, being afraid to see what he's gonna tear into with the Torkoal, then they can Encore you. So it's really good. Like I said, every time you see it, you have to think about how do you stop it, and that alone makes it good every time. Breloom should be good. I don't know what's really holding it back, because if you just use it on a Tailwind team, it's like fast spores, right? But I haven't seen it, and I haven't used it myself, but I know what it's capable of, like Focus Sash, Mac Punches, Spore, Swords Dance, Close Combat, like Bullet Seed. I know I heard about the Bullet Seed, Technician, and also like the Loaded Dice, but we should just use Focus Sash, right? And go for the Spores. Since it's like a Spore user, just use Amoonguss. I do believe in this Pokemon though, so I'm gonna put it like right here behind Luxray. I believe in it. I know it can be good. I haven't even fought it, but I know like what it's capable of. I know what it did in like Diamond and Pearl, the new Diamond and Pearl. Because I was actually playing like the ladder on it. It wasn't like a ranked ladder, but it was like a little online mode that you could play, and it was pretty good. So I know what it can do. I just don't know why people are not using it. Maybe I should try to build a team around and see. I am gonna try to use it on the team, and based on how that team goes, I'll probably move it up or down. I'm gonna give it a try. I don't know why nobody's using it. These two in Scarlet and Violet? I haven't seen these two. If they are, they're bad. I mean, in singles, like what you get Dragon Dance, plus this thing gets KO before it can even Dragon Dance. So if you go for Dragon Dance first, if you do outspeed, then they just KO you. Like, it's so frail. And then this is definitely a singles mon. I guess it can go for Leech Seed and be like Stally with like its ability. Was it like Thick Fat, where it takes like half damage from ice and fire type attacks? It can be decent. I think it's better than this, because that's just downright bad. But if you're going to use Leech Seed Stall, you should be using Wo-Chien, right? It's a grass type. It is 4 times weak to bug, but you can tear around that, and then it also has the effect of dropping your opponent's your physical attack, right? So why would you be using Appleton if that's the case? You get what I'm saying? If you're gonna use Leech Seed, I recommend using Wo-Chien. Wo-Chien's it's one of the 4 Ruin Mons right now. It is the weakest of the 4, but I've been using it to great success, and I've seen people use it, alongside Dondozo and Glamour to great success. And if it's like that, if it's decent to use, like, there's no point to use this then, unless it's your favorite Pokemon. Grumpig. So Grumpig is gonna be our first LOL, right? So Grumpig is funny because you might see this and think that it's a bum. It can't really do nothing, but Assault Vest plus Snarl, like Flutter Mane can't really deal with this thing, right? Like, you think because it's weak to Shadow Ball, it should. This thing tears with the Assault Vest and goes for Snarls. Like, Flutter Mane can't really like it doesn't want to deal with it in the way that it should. You get what I'm saying? I saw Cybertron use a team with it too in a video I was watching back in Series 2, Regulation B, and it was so fun to watch. Like, he actually was getting like KOs with it, and it was very impressive to me. So it's gonna go into LOL because it's a meme. It's definitely a funny Pokemon. I recommend trying it. I don't recommend using it or bringing it to a tournament, but I recommend trying it just to have some fun on the ladder, I think it is one of those funny Pokemon that you can get away with some laughs and things like that, because it just won't die. Not die, but get eliminated or faint, I try to use better words than that. So it just won't faint. Like you keep hitting it and you're like, man, I should be able to knock this thing out, but it won't faint. Like it's one of those that just surprisingly bulky, right? Squawkabilly. This is bad. Just don't use it. It does have intimidate though. It does get intimidate, and intimidate is, I feel, is like the best ability ever created. They need to make an intimidate for the special spectrum, right? A lot of people say that special attacks already have enough, like snarl and stuff, but physical attacks have to get will-o-wisp, right? And they also wanted, that frostbite mechanic to come to the game to help stop special attackers. I feel like special attackers can be oppressive sometimes. I don't think that a special attack intimidate would be bad for the game. So this has intimidate. So because it has the best ability and tailwind, it'll go here. Because you could tailwind and intimidate stuff, but I mean you're better off doing that with Star Raptor, right? And that's in this category too. So why would you be using this? Misdrevious. Now this is actually surprisingly good. I'm gonna put it in decent most of the time because when I see it, it always successfully gets Trick Room up on me, and I've lost to it and I beat it both. So I've experienced both sides of victory and a loss towards this thing, and it's because like it survives like things that I didn't think it would, or it tears on me, and it gets Trick Room up, and then it's decently like good at supporting its teammates, right? So I recommend giving it a try if you haven't. What's this thing's name? It's another Pokemon, I forgot his name because I just don't see it. Miss Magius. Okay. So Miss Magius, it's not good. Fluttermane completely outclasses it. Misdrevious is better than it because of the Evil Light. So I'm gonna put it here because I don't think it's downright bad because it is a ghost type. It is fast. It does have like a lot of coverage. Like it does get like Thunderbolt, right? Like let's just look at its coverage. So if you want to try, like, it gets Energy Ball, Dazzling Gleam, Dark Pulse, and all these are not even in stabs. You get what I'm saying? So you can tear into these types. Mystical Fire. What else it gets? Power Gem, Shadow Ball, which is a stab, Thunderbolt. Like it gets so much, like different type of attacks. You can go for the Hex strategies. Get Hyper Voice. You can do something cute like Normal Terror, Hyper Voice, so you immune to the ghost type attacks. It gets a lot of coverage. Like it has a lot of coverage, so that's why I don't want to say it's downright bad because you can use it, but its pre-evolution outclasses it because of the Eviolite. It's bulky, and also Fluttermane is like one of the best Pokemon in the game, right? So why would you be using this? Hariyama. This is another Pokemon that's just like Miss Magius, right? It gets outclassed. It's still decent though because it gets Wide Guard. So I'm gonna put it here. It's actually a little bit. Yeah, these are not really in order. I don't want to really put them in order because they're like all around the same power level to me. Hariyama, Fake Out, Bullet Punch. So the thing that Iron Hands doesn't get is Bullet Punch and Wide Guard, and that's what makes this have a niche. I used to use in Series 1 Steel Terror with Bullet Punch. It's really good. And then Series 2, I used to surprise Fluttermane using this thing, go for Steel Terror and Bullet Punch it. Clear it off the field if it's not Focus Sash. It does, help set up Trick Room. It's really good next to like Farigiraf and things like that. It's slower than Iron Hands. It's a good Pokemon. Like if Iron Hands didn't exist, this would be like probably top tier, because it's just really good. It's a really good Pokemon. It has guts, right? So it can't get burnt. So it's immune to like Amoonguss and Trick Room, so you can't spore it. It's immune to the spores. It's a good Pokemon. If you don't want to use Iron Hands, if you need a good Fake Out user to help you set up Trick Room, but you don't want to use Iron Hands, you want something that with Wide Guard that stops, not just that stops spread type attacks, go with Hariyama. Crabominal. It's a physical ice type attacker. You're just gonna want to use Bascalibur, right? This can be good in Trick Room. I say it's better than these. I say it's right around here. I've never lost to it, but I have seen it on the ladder and I played against it and I beat it. But it was kind of funny. Like it was led next to a Trick Room user, and I didn't know this got wide guard, and it went for a wide guard on me, and I went for two double hitting moves, spread moves, and it ended up blocking both of them and getting Trick Room successfully. I still was able to pull the game out though, but it did surprise me because I didn't know it got access to wide guard, and it's actually pretty powerful in the Trick Room. Ice and Fighting is amazing coverage. It's going to hit a lot of things for super effective. It's going to hit a lot of things hard on the physical side. And I don't know what item you should use with it. I don't know if it's bulky enough for Assault Vest. Right? Or if you should use it like with a Focus Sash. But it can't be intimidated, right? If you do that, Iron Fist makes these hit harder. I don't see anybody going for this strategy. But you could. But I think Hypercut is probably the best ability for it, just to stop intimidates, right? And it gets like Ice Hammer, right? It gets Crab Hammer, Ice Hammer. Yeah, drops your speed by 1, makes you better. This is actually a good Pokemon, man. I don't know why more people don't use it. But Excalibur's like got the new toy syndrome I was telling you about. Like it gets Rock Slide too. Like Thunder Punch, deal with Gyarados. It's a good Pokemon. It gets good coverage. It has base 132 attack. It's pretty slow, so it's good in Trick Room. I'm actually gonna, put on a team that I want to build around and give it a try. I don't want to say it's decent most of the time because I haven't used it, but I'm gonna say should you really be using it because they're better ice type. They're better Trick Room users. Well, it's Trick Room sweepers, and they're better ice type physical attackers, which basically Excalibur. Right. Donphin. So why would you be using this? It's actually downright bad. Its future and past counterparts are just outclass it completely. And even when they didn't exist, you still weren't using Donphin. I get like it's decent in singles with the rapid spin strategies and stuff like that, but it's not that good. The Salamander. What's this thing's name? I forgot its name too. I actually lost to it too, so I should be remembering it. Salazzle or something like that, right? Yeah, Salazzle. So this thing is good. I'm not gonna knock it. It gets Fake Out. It gets Encore, right? If I'm not mistaken. I could have swore that I got Encore by it, right? Yep, it gets Encore. It gets Fake Out. You could go for Corrosion or Poison Steel types, but Oblivious, so it can't get taunted, right? I didn't know it gets Dragon Dance. It gets Nasty Plot. Taunt. The funny strategy that I saw, it gets Will-O-Wisp, it can burn Toxic. It's pretty good. Fake Tears, Helping Hand. Like, look at all this good coverage. The funny thing I saw was a Jetpack, right? It was a Jetpack and it went for Overheat and did mad damage and just got out of there. Like, it's very fast. Like, it's base 117. Max that out. Put a Timid Nature. It's pretty fast, right? And it overheated me and ejected out. I actually probably want to use that. Try it on the team. It's really good. We're going to put it in decent most of the time because every time I've seen it, it does good work. I've lost to it. I beat it. But it's right up there with like these two. Like, actually might be better than those two. And then it's very hard to deal with in singles. I don't play singles, but like I said, I do play singles on Showdown as far as like the random ladder. And every time I see it on random ladder, it goes for like Toxic, Substitute, Protect, and with leftovers. And it just, if you don't take care of it fast, it can really stall you out and like take out a lot of your team. It's Kaparaja. It's a Trick Room sweeper. It's not bad because it's really good physical attack, sheer force. But really, it's like, why would you be using this? They're better steel types. It doesn't even counter Fluttermane because Fluttermane's Shadow Ball is probably one-shot this thing. It's so frail. It's a fun Pokemon to look at. I think it's cool when it's on the field. Its Gigantamax in Generation 8 was kind of creepy to me. I don't know, it just looked weird. It looked like a Chinese wall or something like that. I wasn't having a good time looking at that thing when it Dynamax, even though it was rare. And then it did like Stealth Rock, but it was like Steel type Stealth Rock. It's pretty cool. Garchomp. So this Garchomp is gonna be good every time. Put it right over here. Garchomp with Talonflame is deadly. It can Earthquake, Choice Band, Life Orb, Earthquake, Ground Terror is doing mad damage. If you don't have answers to it, you don't have Intimidate, you don't have Flying types, you don't have Grass types that resist it. It's gonna do, and even Grass types that resist it, it's still gonna do like 40%. It's very strong, very fast. It outspeeds base 100 with its speed. It's a good Pokemon. It's always been good. Even like around its 4 times weak. I think this might be the best generation for it. Generation 9, because it can get away from that 4 times weakness to ice and turn it into like a resistance with like fire and steel. Fluttermane can't really beat this thing without terror. Like if it terrors, then it just beats Fluttermane unless you're running like a weird terror on Fluttermane to like counter like the fire or steel type terror for it. It's a good Pokemon. I won't say it's top tier, but I do believe it's very good. It does well into the Tyranitar Lycanroc combo that I've been using, and I gotta find like better ways to deal with like these two. I can beat them, but it is like something I have to deal with, you know. So Garganacl in Series 1, this would have been top tier. Series 2, it would be good every time. Series 3 is come down. Like every series is dropping. And it's because the power level's going up. It doesn't have a lot of time to set up and do the things that it want. It could go good alongside like add up the chip damage with Salt Cure. It's actually better than these. It's probably the best thing in here. All right, it could add up the damage with Glamora with the poison, and also go for like Salt Cure next to Wo-Chien with the Leech Seed. It can help you add up residual damage, right? But then like this thing is weak to like things that are gonna be common in the format like Great Tusk. And they're gonna go for like a ground type move, right? Or a fighting type move, right? So you're forced to Terra. And if you're wasting your Terra on this, just imagine if you go for Terra Ghost, there's Fluttermane. You can't go for Terra Poison because Tusk still hits you, right? And Fluttermane is the most common Pokemon in the format. So I guess Water Terra might be the best Terra for it. But then you're going to be weak to like Grass and Electric. And people are bringing Grass and Electric now to deal with Gyarados and Azumarill, Palafin, and Dondozo, right? So it does get hit pretty hard. It can stall you out if you don't deal with it and like get recovers off. And Wide makes it even better. Like Wide makes it better than all these. It's like the best user of Wide, right? Because you literally don't even have to run like Iron Defense. If you run the Iron Defense set, then you're gonna be down here. Like why you should really be using this. But if you run like the Salt Cure, Protect, Recover, Wide that's a good set. Then it's pretty decent, right? Like if you sleep on this mon, it can add up chip damage and deal with you and like kind of be annoying. But if it's alone and you KO everything next to it, like it can't do anything when it's by itself. Like it doesn't have good comeback potential unless it gets to a position to where you can't like 2-hit KO it and it can keep going for recovers, right? Pelipper. It's the best range setter, of course. It's gonna go right here. It's good every time. If you see it, it is 4 times weak to Electric, but it has Terra to get around that. It has Focus Sash to get around that. Common items, Damp Rock, Focus Sash, Citrus Berry. It's really good. Setting up the rain for like Palafin and like Water Sweepers, and also like getting rid of other weathers, getting rid of Torko's Sun. Like just bringing this to a Torko team and having it in the back, it just plays mind games on them, right? Because they can't. The Sun teams want to utilize Torko to its best ability, where it's just to sweep or enable other things like Jump Luff and Lilligant, and Pelipper just shuts that down. All right, so Gyarados is gonna be right up here with Garchomp. It's good every time. This format, because like there's not like a lot of electric type Pokemon, people are taking on like electric attacks. They're taking on electric attacks to deal with this guy. It's not for anything else in the format, because there are other ways to deal with everything else. It'll deal with this thing, because if you don't hit it super effectively, it's kind of bulky. It can take a lot of hits. It can tear around stuff. It's gonna go for Thunder Waves and Taunts. It shuts down Amoonguss. Thunder Wave plus Waterfall shuts down like a lot of Pokemon that are like bulky, and they just can't get moves off. Pokemon that can't one-shot you, like Pokemon, are not good against it, because you're gonna be, if you do get around like the flinch or the paralyzed, fully paralyzed, you can't one-shot anything, so it's still bad. The only things they get around are the Pokemon that are like one-shot stuff. So even if they get around like the full pair or the flinch, they can one-shot stuff. So it's a really good Pokemon. Barraskewda, it's gonna go right around with the other Swift Swim users. Where are they? Right here. It's better than these two. It's a physical. It's faster than them, but I think Dreadnought's better than it. So why should you be using that? If you're gonna use a Swift Swim user, then use Dreadnought. If you're gonna use a Rain Sweeper, use Palafin, right? So Dreadnought Palafin outclass this thing in my opinion. So why should you use this? It's super frail. It's frailer. It's just as frail as this. You have to waste your Focus Sash on it. Focus Sash is a very valuable item. It can go on so many different things, right? So why waste your Focus Sash on that? Basculin. I think this is one of the Eviolite potential mons. It doesn't get Eviol. I don't think it works yet. It does have an evolve form, but it's not in the game right now, right? So I don't know if it counts. If anybody knows that, could you leave that in the comments? Whether, like, does this work? Like, tell me, does this work? If Eviolite works, even though its evolution is not currently in the game, but it does have an evolution. I don't know if it works like that or not. What's this thing named? Something? Swan? No, it's a poison type. Swalot? Yeah, Swalot. I don't know what this thing does. I know what Pokemon it is. I've seen it on Showdown. None of these abilities are really good. I guess Gluttony might be the best. Like Destiny Bond, Encore, Pain Split, Swords Dance, Thunder Wave, Yawn. Yawn is probably the best thing on this thing, right? So it can annoy you. I don't see it doing anything else. It's both its attack and special attack are garbage. It does get Clear Smog. But Donzo's just gonna hit you with an Earthquake, right? Which is not good. This thing is bad. You know? We don't have to waste too much time on this one. It's just downright bad. Persian is bad. It's weak to fighting. It does get Fake Out. But Alolan Persian is just so much better than this. It's not in the game right now, but like you're never gonna see this on the ladder. If you do, it's because it's their favorite Pokemon. Because it gets Fake Out, I'll put it like right there with Houndoom because it has something that's good. Drifblim. Drifblim, it's okay. It's annoying, but I never lose to it. Like it's gonna go for Hypnosis, Icy Winds, Tailwinds. Outspeed you next to Indeedee. The thing about it is, like it does get Trick Room too, so it's like Trick Room plus Tailwind. But when you use Indeedee, you want to use something next to Indeedee that's like offensive, right? That can set up and do something next to Indeedee, right? This thing is just a support, just like Indeedee. So you got two really passive Pokemon on the field. And in Series 1, there was a strategy with Life Orb Indeedee, and you use Tailwind next to this thing and like Terrifier Indeedee, and like Surprise KO something with Terrifier, Fire Blast, Terra Blast. But that's just niche, right? It actually might be down here, but like, nah, I'll stay right here with Gengar. It's right there. Dugtrio. So this does have a niche, just like Persian. Houndoom. It's actually might be better than them. So I'll put it right here next to Clodsire because it can trap things in that are not flying type with Arena Trap. It's decently fast. It's ground type, so ground coverage is always good. But Gothitelle just outclasses this thing like so well. Like Gothitelle gets Fake Out, Gothitelle gets Hypnosis, Gothitelle gets Taunt, Gothitelle's bulky. You can tear this thing into whatever you want to tear it into, right? It's still gonna get one shot. It don't matter what you tear it into, it's gonna get one shot or two shot. If it's a resisted hit, it's two shot, right? Gothitelle If you tear it, it's not being two-shot by anything that it resists. It's gonna stay alive on the field. It make use of the citrus berry. It makes use of terror. Like this is can only make use of terror in an offensive way to get like more ground coverage, or like rock terror for stone edge. But that's not really worth wasting your terror on. But if you do want to try to use this to like as a trap Pokemon on a Paris team, to like trap in like Gholdengo, which is funny because Gholdengo's immune to Gothitail's trapping, but you can trap like ghost type Sand with this, but you just can't trap flying type, so it can be used. Torkoal is gonna go right with Pelipper. It's a little bit better than Pelipper because it enables. Actually, it might be go up. It's gonna have to go up here simply because it enables Paradoxmon. The past forms, they get boosted off Sun, right? So they become like extremely more powerful, faster, and the rain doesn't do that. The rain shuts them off. But Torkoal is really good. It just won a regional next to that with eject pack, so similar to like this where you go for the overheat and switch out, but slow overheat, so you get the slow switch in. So you don't have to worry about taking that damage. It also gets fissure if you want to go for that. Camera. This thing is just it's bad. It's 4 times weak to water. It's very slow. You want to use it in Trick Room to sweep. So the thing about this is it's super slow. It's a fire type sweeper. It gets like Eruption, Choice Specs, right? Fire Terror. That's doing a lot of damage, right? In Trick Room, right? But then just use Torkoal and do the same thing. Plus you get the added boost of having the sun out. So Torkoal's Eruption is hitting harder than this, right? So why not just use Torkoal? And it's also not 4 times weak to water. Like even in sun, this thing is still taking a lot of damage from water because it's 4 times weak to it. Bronzong. Bronzong's is very annoying for me. It's one of those Pokemon that I always feel like I can one-shot it, and it always survives with like a slither. Like if you watch some of my videos, I'm gonna say it's good every time. It's always consistent at getting Trick Room up. Now it's good with a redirection user because there's no Calyrex Shadow, right? So you can fake out or redirect. Calyrex Shadow just annihilates this thing because it was no Terra back then, but even if you Terra, like you can Terra into a Dark type. It's always gonna be like physical fighting coverage everywhere. So its best Terra is a fire type. So it's really good at getting Trick Room up this gen. It can enable things with like Bulldoze, Hypnosis, Slow Hypnosis, and Trick Room. Gyro Ball one-shots Flutter Mane. It can go for Iron Defense, Body Press strategies. It's pretty good. It's a good Pokemon. Haxorus. You're never seeing this, right? It's just another dragon that just gets outclassed by everything. It doesn't have enough stats to do what you want it to do. I feel like it should have been better. I think the addition of fairy types just really invalidates it. It does look cool though. I like the blaze on his face. Primate, it's one of those Pokemon I feel like has Eviolite potential. It's a fighting type. You can't go wrong with fighting type Eviolite. You can Terra this into certain things. You can make it work if you want to. Annihilate. This is top tier. If this was S tier, I would say it's S tier, but that's pretty much the same thing. Annihilate is a problem for the meta. The reason it's a problem is because it can be next to this Pokemon right here, Mousehold, and it still can go for Final Gambit. And that's what's so scary about it, because you don't know when it's Final Gambit. And the way it's so common with Bulk Up and Drain Punch and Rage Fish, it conditions you to think that it's going for setups and it's going to play like the slow game and want you to hit it so it can KO you back. And then it just goes for Final Gambit, and this just goes for normal Terra Population Bomb. They just kill both your Pokemon turn 1. It's very scary. You have to be prepared. Every time I see this, especially when it's not beside this, I always assume it's Final Gambit. So I try to like play around it or lead in a way that it can't just get like a Final Gambit off. It's a ghost type, which is one of the best offensive types plus fighting. It's just like the same typing as Marshadow, and Marshadow would have been very good in VGC if it was allowed, but it's a mythical, so it's not. So now they gave us another ghost and fighting type that is arguably just as good as Marshadow, right? It doesn't have the stat stealing special move, like signature move, but it has Rage Fist, which it's kind of parallel with it. It's its own like really good move. Like I like it. I think Rage Fist in future generations will get like distribute more to other like ghost type physical attackers. But for right now, it's his move alone, and it makes like it's really good. Metachem. Metachem, if you sleep on it, has a lot of like things. It can go for trick room, fake outs, what is it, skill swaps. It can swap away your Dondozos unaware. It can swap to his teammates and like do like strategies with like Lycanroc with the no guard stuff. Like it's decent. It can catch you off guard and beat you if you're not expected. Close combat from this thing hits hard. You might not expect it to, but it does. With the pure power ability, it's good. Lucario, I have not seen this once on the ladder. I know I said that it's a better Final Gambit user than Staraptor, but that's because it can do more than just that, and it's a steel type. Steel types are always good in my opinion. I'm gonna put it right there with Staraptor. Should you really be using this? Is you gonna go for Final Gambit? Just go for Annihilate, right? Because then you threaten. They have to figure out which set you are. Most time people are gonna assume Lucario is that set. I know it gets extreme speed, so you can go for like a choice band, normal terror, extreme speeds. But if you're gonna do that, just go with Dragonite or Arcanine, right? They do that same thing but stronger, right? And better resistances. Dragonite comes with the effect of having like multiple coverage moves and being extra bulky with multi-scale and inner focus, and then Arcanine gets Intimidate, right? Plus Flash Fire. So just use those over this. Amarouge. Amarouge, they say it's fell off in this series, but every time I see it, it still finds a way. It's actually better than that. I'll put it up here with Corviknight. Amarouge is still pretty good. If you're not prepared, if you don't have the proper like ways to deal with it, it sets up Trick Room. It can go for like those expanded forces and sweep your team, right? Go for Grass Terror, so you can't KO it. Flash Fire makes it immune to Torkoal. Grass Terror, Torkoal can't touch that thing. Like it's a Torkoal counter. Like if you run into Torkoal and you have Amarouge on your team, you're feeling good, right? And then if you go with like Grass Terror, like it just does the Lilligant Torkoal strategy. It just shuts it off, right? And then like that loses to like Indeedee Amarouge, right? So it makes you feel good to have it on your team when you see Lilligant Torkoal because it helps you beat it. Amarouge is really slept on. It's still really good. I love how it's like, it reminds me of Mega Man, but it's red. It's red like Proto Man, and then Ceruledge is like blue like Mega Man. So I like how like it has the gun like Mega Man, but it's like the color of Proto Man, and then Ceruledge is blue like Mega Man, but has a sword like Proto Man or like Zero. So I like that. Ceruledge is pretty good too. I put them like right next to each other. I mean, in the other series, Amarouge used to be way better than Ceruledge, but right now they're about even. If you don't deal with Ceruledge early, if it gets like bulk ups off and that tears in the steel, like it's really hard to deal with screens up. And go for those Bitter Blades and Shadow Sneaks. It makes Fluttermane have to terror or switch out, like threatens that with Shadow Sneaks. It's still good. Wish Cast. It's just a bad Pokemon. It's 4 times weak to grass. It's slow stratus Dragon Dance. Like, why would you want to go for Dragon Dance with this? Right? It's bad. It's a bad Pokemon. Belly Boat. How far are we? We're getting close to being done. So we're gonna kind of go through these a little bit quicker. Belly Boat. I've seen some fun strategies with Cybertron use it. I feel like it's in this category. It's okay. It can catch you off guard with the parabolic charge and stay on the field for a long time. It's kind of like, actually, I think it's gonna go into LOL. I think it's the best LOL because like you think you can KO it. It looks goofy. It's like, okay, my opponent's using that. We're just gonna win, and then it just stays on the field forever. Oh, this was supposed to go in here. Sorry about that. I know that probably annoyed some of y'all, me leaving it. Yeah, that's the Eviolite. See, I feel like it's the same thing. Like, it's assault vest. It sticks on the field. Special wall, decent. Guju's another special wall. It's not bad. I'm gonna put it in here. Should you really be using it over other dragon types? It does have its niche. If you want to use GUI, you can slow stuff down. It's bulky. Draco Meteor, Water Terror, Hydro Pumps in the rain is pretty strong. It's decent. Toxicroak, Fake Out User, Poisons, just like Metacham. I'll put it right around there. What's this thing's name? Don't tell me. Kilowattrel, that's his name. Kilowattrel. It was really good in the other series. It just gets outclassed by other Tailwind Pokemon. It's frail, can't really do anything. Like, why would you be using that right now? It's just not the format for it right now. Vaporeon, good Donzo counter, annoying with yawns. It's actually decent because you're not just gonna remove it from the field. It can yawn you. It can go for leftovers, protect. It can stay on the field long enough to freeze you with ice beams and stuff like that. It's decent. Water absorb. Jolteon's pretty bad. Like, it's frail. It's not gonna do anything. It has Volt Absorb, but it's fast, but it doesn't outspeed the stuff it should, like Flutter Mane. It's just gonna KO it before it can move. Flareon, same Jolteon, it's downright bad. Guts, Toxicroak, people see that coming. Espeon, Magic Bounce, good in singles, not good in doubles. Umbreon, now Umbreon is decent most of the time. It's right there, Vaporeon. Might be a little better than them. I'll put it up here. Foul Play, Snarl, Yawn, Moonlight. It's good on Sunteam, Protect. It can go for, what was this? I think the skill swap onto Dondozo. It's pretty good. Leafeon is decent in the sun. It can hit pretty hard. It's not that good. I think it's better than these two, so I'll put it here. Should you really be using this? They're better chlorophyll users. If you want to use grass Pokemon, just use a grass terror. Like, it's so many things that Pokemon that do what it does better. Glaceon, same thing. It's not as bad as these three. It's good in the snow, makes it kind of bulky. It can go for like slow freezes and freeze the opponent. But just use a Bomb of Snow and Flutter Mane, right? I mean, not Flutter Mane, Arm Bundle. Arm Bundles, they're both special attackers. Arm Bundle's faster, gets Encore. Stay on the field longer, even though this is bulky, just because people target Arm Bundle and protects. Like, people can just ignore that. Sylveon is the best out of all the EV evolutions. The fairy typing is really good. Every time I see it, it does work. People underestimate it. It is frail on the physical side to like special attacks that not special attacks, physical attacks that are super effective. But other than that, like, if you get it in Trick Room, I've seen this thing absolutely sweep with like Throat Spray and Choice Specs. So it's good every time I see it. It's never like a bad Pokemon. The Dunsparce. I've seen a strategy where this goes like, gets the beat up strategy with something. Psychic Terror. And then goes for stored power and stuff like that. I wouldn't say should you really be using this. It's actually a LOL strategy. I can't put it there because it's like nothing really does what it does. I guess Annihilate beat up strategy is more consistent than this, but it's like it can beat you if you're not expecting it, right? Like, it's funny because like when I saw it, I had no idea what it did, and then it was next to Mousehold and went for beat up, and then this thing was just like super fast and going for like hyper voices, and it's not good against steel types though, because I switched into steel type and just ate up the stored power and stuff. But it was kind of funny when I saw it, because I was just like, what? Did he really do that? Saucebuck, chlorophyll user, it's really bad. Let's just put it here. It does get chlorophyll, but the normal type holds it back. Girafarig. It's one of those Eviolite Pokemon I talked about. It gets Trick Room. With an Eviolite, it can become kind of bulky, but I think you much rather use Farigiraf, right? Farigiraf is good every time. I don't see Farigiraf that much, but I know its potential. Like, I know it's a good Pokemon. I know what it's capable of. I know what it wants to go for, right? All right, 1 second. All right, Muck. This is really bad Pokemon. There's not much to talk about this. It's bad. When Alolan Muck comes, I heard that it used to be good in Gen 7. I hope I get to use it. Mabastiff, it's a dark type. I don't really know what this thing does. I know it's I seen like a Scarf Play Rough version of it. Surprise like Fluttermane and stuff like that. I don't think it's downright bad because I've seen it like win some games, but I never used it. I never played, like lost to it. But should you really be using this over other dark type users, right? So we'll put it right there. It's not downright bad. Toxicity, it's not downright bad. I say it's right there with like Golduck. And it can go for like Normal Terror, Boom Burst, and Trick Room that's doing a lot of damage. But should you really be using this as a Trick Room sweeper when it's not the slowest? And it's also kind of frail, and then you have to tear it because being like 4 times weak to ground, which is like one of the most common attacks that people are taking on right now to deal with other stuff, it makes you not want to use that, right? The Dene, you know what it's gonna go for, same as Greedent, like cheek pouch stuff. It's pretty bad, but it's better than Greedent, right? So we'll put it like right here. Pachirisu, world champion. I don't think it's downright bad. It's a follow me user. So we'll put it right here next to Toxapex because it's decent. It's bulky, gets Volt Absorb. But if you're going to use Redirection, why not use Maushold, right? It's the new toy. It has more niche than this. It can be offensive. It can do more than it. It has Friend Guard. Amoonguss is a better redirection user as well. Indeedee is a better redirection user. Yeah. Stantler. Intimidate with Skill Swap. Kind of LOL strategy. I think it's pretty funny. I haven't seen anybody use it yet. Does it even get Skill Swap in this gen to go for Skill Swap plus Intimidate? Let's see. It does get Skill Swap. So I think that's kind of funny if people go for that. It's going to be in the LOL. Amoonguss. We already know where this is going. It's a top tier Pokemon. Rage Powder, Spore, Terra, survive everything. Make you want to hit it with a flying type move. There's people aren't taking Psychic to beat it. Pollen Puff, Clear Smog, Leaf Storm, all good choices. Like Amoonguss is so good right now. It's actually better than these two. Right? I'll go like this because Annihilate's a little bit better than Lycanroc. Amoonguss is too good right now. I'm not gonna lie to you. Electroid, Fast Taunt, Thunder Wave. I want to say it's bad as these because it's like it outspeeds a lot of stuff in the format. But if you want to Thunder Wave stuff, just use Gyarados. It's bulkier. It's gonna stay on the field longer. So we'll just put it here. Magneton. This is one of those Pokemon I feel like could be decent with an Eviolite. You could try it out. It might be bulkier than Magnezone, right? Magnezone, slow electric Trick Room Sweeper, just like Toxtricity. Should you really be using it? Ditto. I have not seen not one Ditto. I know this Pokemon is good. It can copy stuff, but it's not really things that you want to copy. It could copy like you can get double Fluttermane on your team, which I think is threatening. I think it's slept on. I'm gonna put it in decent. Actually, I'm gonna put it in LOL. It's the best in LOL because Ditto's funny to me because when restrictors come, you're gonna see Ditto's usage rise. because if it's a restricted format, we can only use like one or two. Like just copying one of those and giving yourself an extra restricted is really good, right? And I don't know why more people don't use it to copy the ruins or the paradox, but maybe it's because it's kind of hard to like predict them coming. And you know, if you bring this, you know they gotta have restrictors on their team, at least one or two. Right. I'm gonna try Ditto out because I know it's good and I loved it in Sword and Shield. Arcanine, until Incineroar comes, is A tier. It's right up there. It's a little better and more consistent than Lycan Rock. Intimidate, Will-O-Wisp, Snarl, Safety Goggles, deals with Amoonguss, helps you beat Amoonguss, right? Like even if you don't have Safety Goggles, Amoonguss is never going for Spore into this because it's so common with Safety Goggles. So Arcanine is really good. Arcanine is the best like utility Pokemon until Incineroar gets here, then it's irrelevant. Ursaring, it's one of those things that's kind of like Bastion. I don't know if Eviolite works with it because it does have an evolved form. If it gets Eviolite, I think it can be okay. Zangoose, it's bad, but I think it's like one of the best bad Pokemon because it's actually a strong normal type attacker. Actually, I'm gonna put it here. Right, it's a strong normal type attacker. It's decently fast. But should you really be using that over other normal type attackers? If you are going to like just use Population Bomb with that, you get more out of it than trying to go for this. Because people don't know if you're the support set or not, right? With this, they know you're probably going to be like the little poison strategy or like go for sword stance and stuff like that. They're just going to KO you before you do anything. So Viper, this thing is just downright bad. Not much to talk about. This is bad. What's this thing's name? I don't want to not say a Pokemon's name. I want to show all Pokemon respect. I forget its name though. That was a dragon flying. Altaria. That's what it is. Or Altaria, however you want to pronounce it. Go-Go. It's okay, but why would you be using that over other grass types? It's not that good. Tauros. Would you really be using this over the Paldean Tauros? Any of them? No. Pyroar. I'm a Leo, so I hate to do this because I love lions, but Pyro's pretty bad. Like, it's pretty bad. It doesn't do anything special. It's decent special attacker, fire and type attack. It's immune to Flutter Mane. I guess it can wall Flutter Mane because Flutter Mane can't hit it with any of his stabs. That alone, I'm gonna put it, and because I'm a Leo, I'm gonna be a little biased. I'm gonna put it in here. I'm not gonna say downright bad because it completely walls Flutter Mane. Now that I think about it, it can't hit it with Moonblast or Shadow Ball. Like it resists Moonblast, immune to Shadow Ball. Like I'm actually might try to build because this is like just having this like invalidates Flutter Mane, right? It can't, but it's Flutter Mane's teammates are just gonna deal with it. Like Great Tusk just obliterates this with both his stabs, right? But we're gonna put it there. Should you really be using this over other Flutter Mane counters, right? So we'll put it there. Skunk Tank, good singles mine. It's bad in doubles. Not much to talk about. Zoroark, it's a LOL. Second best LOL. It can win some games based off the mind games. It's not consistent. It's funny when you win with it though. Like Sneasel. Sneasel's one of the good Pokemon that can use Eviolite or Focus Sash. It gets Fake Out. It gets Taunt. It's pretty strong. Ice and Dark is good attacking coverage. It's pretty much the same as Weavile. Even though it's an evolved form, they pretty much do the same thing. Both with a Focus Sash. But Sneasel gets... what does it get? It gets something. It's ability, right? It's something that makes it better than Weavile. Inner Focus, so it can't be flinched because Weavile doesn't get Inner Focus, right? If I'm not mistaken. Yeah, Pressure Pickpocket. I do not know why they robbed Weavile of getting Inner Focus. If Weavile had Inner Focus, it would be top tier. not really, but it'll be decent most of the time. So Sneasel's a little better than Weavile, so we'll do like this. Murkrow. Good most of the time. no good every time. You see it, it's a good Pokemon. Tailwind, second best Tailwind setter. It's just as good as Mousehold. Haze helps you deal with stuff that you want to get rid of. It's a good Pokemon. Honchkrow, this is evolved form of Murkrow, but it's bad. It does have Dark Terror Sucker Punch, so it'll go here. Because like, if you want to go for Dark Terror Sucker Punch, use Chien-Pao. But you can do that and deal like significant amount of damage because it has a high physical attack stat. Gothorita, it's one of these that I feel like can be actually better than all these with. Let me do it like this. Right, it can be better with Eviolite. It's a baby Gothitelle. I don't know if you like it better because it could be bulkier than Gothitelle. This is a top tier Pokemon. This is one of those Pokemon that makes Pokemon feel like chess, right? So when this is in play, you can't like move your pieces around like you want to. It stops you. It controls gameplay. It's actually better than these. Like it's better than these. Maybe not Annihilate, Arcanine, yeah. But like it's really good. Fake Out, Hypnosis, Trick Room. It causes you to play a certain way. It causes you to lead a certain way. You can't like bring Palafin because you can't switch your Palafin out unless you're Ghost Terra Palafin. And then if you Ghost Terra, you got to stay in and protect to do that, right? Then switch out. But nobody's running Ghost Terra Palafin. So like it causes you to play the game differently, and that alone causes it to be a top tier for me. Poltergeist, right? Is that the name of this Pokemon? Poltergeist. I know it's really good in in singles, randoms on Showdown. Yeah, Poltergeist, because it goes for Shell Smash, but in like doubles, it's like it's just bad, you know. I guess because it gets Shell Smash, it'll be like up here, like with this. Like it's like one of those things where it can get that off, but then it's just gonna get KO'd after you get it off, right? Or before you can even get it off. Mimikyu. People are asleep on this Pokemon. This Pokemon is really good every time. It's right there in Murkrow. It's a good speed control with Trick Room. But you can also run it offensive with Life Orb, Play Rough, and Shadow Sneak, Shadow Claw. Fairy and Ghost type coverage is very good, especially on the physical side. People sleep on Mimikyu. It's a good Pokemon. Klefki. Alberto Lara has been using this Pokemon non-stop. He has made it good. I'm convinced that it's good. Every time I see it, it does what it's supposed to do. I'm actually going to put it right up there with Vivian, right? It does what it's supposed to do. With Thunder Waves, you get screens up. It can't really do any damage, but it does keep your Pokemon around for a long time. And then the Thunder Wave is very annoying. Indeedee Male, I haven't seen anybody pilot this to success. So it's going to go here. Like I think it's better than these, like right up there with Gengar, because you can go for like a Scarf after you next to like maybe like Torkoal or something, and they can't fake you out because you put the terrain up, and it's really fast with a Scarf. But I still rather just have Lilligant, right, with the sleep chance, because they have resistance to Torkoal. They can switch that in, even though nothing really resists Fire Terror, Eruption. It can be good if you want to use it though, but it goes here because should you really be using this over regular Indeedee? No, regular Indeedee has too much utility. Plus they both get Trick Room. Bramblegas, this is pretty bad. It's like a physical attacker that gets a boost on Tailwind. I put it like right here, because should you really be using this over like Mimikyu as a physical ghost attacker? It's grass type, so it can be immune to Amoonguss, but it doesn't just beat Amoonguss instantly. So Toadscrew, Trick Room, Rage Powder, which is unique. Rage Powder plus Trick Room is something unique. It has a unique ability that makes its status moves go last. I want to say it's up here. Should you really be using this over other Trick Room users? It's okay. You can make it work. It's not bad though. Tropius. This Pokemon is LOL. It's funny because it's like stupid frail, it's weak, can't do any damage, but I be winning with it on Showdown. I play a lot of Showdown as well as like in-game cart on ladder. But when I play Showdown, like if I'm not playing like regulation CVGC, I play random doubles, right? And every time I use this in random doubles, I just go for like least seed and like substitute and protect and with steel terror. And it's like I just be cleaning through teams with it for some reason. It's funny for me. All right. This has the ability that raises attacks. Basically, you can like get a boost from Intimidate. You can go for like Leaf Storm stuff. I forgot what the name of the ability is. Lorantis. Alright, so it's Contrary. That's what it's called. Contrary. Yeah, so Contrary, it's okay. Yeah, it's right there. Yeah, you're not really. Should you really be using that? There's not really anything that does what it does better because Superior is not in the game right now, but just don't use it. Cloth. Shell Smash, Anger Shell. It's LOL. It's actually probably, yeah, it's LOL. It can be okay. I think it's funny if you use it. It looks so goofy, so it's one of those LOL Pokemon. What's this thing's name? The Spicy Extract strategy with Dragapult with Mirror Herd. This strategy is funny. Like I haven't lost to it, but I've seen it like used and won. Like I've seen people use it. Scope Villain. I like it. Spicy Extract Chlorophyll user. It's a better Chlorophyll user than like Sauce Bug. Like it does get Rage Powder, so it's decent. I'm gonna put it here. It's just like Toadscrew. Like it does a lot of similar things, like, but it's kind of frail. But it does enable like Mirror Herb strategies with Spicy Extract. But should you really be using this? Cacturne is pretty bad. I can't think of anything that it does that stands out. Sucker Punch. That's it. Rapska. So it's the same as Palmont, but on the Trick Room side. So instead of Fake Out, it gets Trick Room. Very slow, but it's a bug type, so it's frail. I think it's good though. I've seen it piloted good, but not many people trust it. So it's one of those Pokemon, like just like Toadscrew, should you really be using it over other Trick Room users? But I feel like it's gonna have its time in Scarlet Violet to where it makes it on like a team that gets like top cut at a regional. It gets like a lot of notary, and people are like, oh, he's using Rapska or she's using Rapska, and they're doing well, and it's gonna work on a team. Watch what I tell you. Venomoth, it's hot garbage. Nothing much to talk about there. All right, so we're getting down. Fortress, hot garbage. Singles Pokemon, worse than these. Don't use it. Actually, I lost to it on ladder. It beat my Flutter Mane. It had Gyro Ball and it had Rock Blast. So Rock Blast killed my Chien-Pao. No, my Chi-Yu. It tear it into water and Rock Blast my Chi-Yu and watch it. So because of that, I'm gonna put some respect on it and put it up here because it did do that. We're gonna put it right here with Electrode. It did do that to me and I lost to it. So I'm gonna put some respect on his name. The Rock Blast strategy was kind of cool. Scyther, you're never gonna see it. Eviolite potential. It's even better than just Eviolite because it can do Focus Sash, Tailwind. It's okay, but like, should you really be using it over Scizor? Scizor is just much better. Bullet Punch, Steel type, counters Flutter. It's decent most of the time. And Scizor is pretty decent. Can't go wrong with that. Heracross. Everybody wants it to be good, but it's a bad bug type. Moxie, it's bad. A spatula. A spatula is a LOL for sure. A spatula is definitely a LOL. Probably better than Zoroark. It's actually better than Ditto. Okay, it's gonna play alongside Sandy Shocks and go for the Hypnosis Gravity strats. And then a Lunar Crash. Actually, it's not a meme because it's actually consistent. Like the strategy is consistent. So I'm gonna go with decent most of the time. I don't want to put it up. I'm gonna put it right here with Mischievous. It has its niche. It's pretty good. I've lost to it. I've won against it. I know exactly what they're going for. Sometimes you can't stop it, and you just have to try to hope that you wake up soon. So that alone makes it, better than that. So Hippowdon just used Tyranitar. Like this, the only thing it gets is Yawn, right? So it goes right here with. It is a Sand Setter, so I'll put it like here with these. It can do that, but just use Tyranitar. Tyranitar is just so much stronger. You can tear it away from the 4 times weak to fighting. It hits harder. It's more threatening. Like people can, if they get like anything that blocks them from getting Yawn, like they can just ignore this, and you can just lose the game like that, right? Crocodile seen a funny strategy with this. It gets Intimidate. The funny strategy is that you go for use Meowscarada and then you go for Flower Trick and turn this into Steel, activate your Anger Point, right? Which is a cool strategy. So, but I think it's a meme strategy. Wolfie used a team that he bought online. He didn't change any of the terrors, used it as they had it. And they didn't have the right terror for this. So you still terror it in the rock and you still hit it super effectively with Flower Trick, right? So you had to hope that it'll survive. That alone made it kind of funny. So Sandaconda, it's just like Our Believer. You got to hit it to activate Sand. You got to hit this to activate Grass. Like, it's just worse Hippowdon, worse Tyranitar. It does have trapping ability with Sand Tomb, but that's about it. Mudsdale, Trick Room, Ground type, Stamina gets super bulky. I put it next to Crabominal because it's decent in Trick Room, but there's other Trick Room users that are better ground types. Do you really want to base your Trick Room team around this that doesn't deal that much damage, but it's supposed to be a Trick Room sleeper that doesn't deal damage? I don't think so, right? Volcarona. I think it's good every time. I'm actually going to put it right here with Bronzong. Redirection, Quiver Dance, Heat Wave. My favorite set is Quiver Dance with Giga Drain and Heat Wave with Grass Terror. Next to like Grimmsnarl with Fake Out and Screens. You Fake Out, get the Quiver Dance off, and then you start sweeping and set up your screens. And then you heal back with Giga Drain. You can go Life Orb or Leftovers. Leftovers for more longevity. Life Orb to get rid of stuff quicker. I've only tried the Life Orb set, but I've seen people use the Leftover set, and it's just as good. Like, I like Volcarona. It's a good Pokemon. I actually think it's better than the other two moths, funny enough. Salamence. Salamence is decent most of the time. It's a good Intimidate user. I think it's better. It's right there with like Scizor. It has its niche. It's 4 times weak to Ice, but you can get around that with a Terror. It can Intimidate so that it takes less damage. Steel Terror kind of walls Fluttermane. It gets Tailwind. It's a good Pokemon. Don't sleep on it. I love this thing. I love how it just has a hammer. It reminds me of like some type of anime character, right? But it's a Pokemon. Now this is gonna be controversial, but I'm gonna put it in a good every time, because why it's signature move Gigaton Hammer, you can't use it twice in a row, so it kind of holds it back, and it has like 75 base attack. Every time I play this thing with the Mold Breaker and Encore and Fake Out and like Thunder Wave and Taunt, like it always does something that catches me off guard and costs me to lose the game. Like I've lost to this thing so many times when I expect to just win because they're using it. And like I said, Encore, Taunt, Thunder Wave, Fake Out, Feint, the knockoff, Gigaton Hammer, like it does so much like annoying things that I think it's pretty good. I think it's pretty good. I actually gonna build a team around it too. Hatterene, put it right up there. It's a good Trick Room user. I'm gonna put it right there with Sylveon. Actually, Frigoraf's a better trickle user than it, but Hattering's more offensive. So it's kind of like if you want to go with the defensive trick room setter or the offensive trick room setter, they're kind of like hand in hand. If it got expanding force, it would be top tier because it's that good. There's no Dynamax to help reduce the special damage, and its special attack is just way higher than Umbreach, but it lost expanding force, so that's why. But it's still pretty good. Life Orb, Dazzling Gleams, Life Orb psychic attacks with the terrain, Life Orb, Mystical Fires, Fire Terror is pretty good. Grimmsnarl. Grimmsnarl is right up there with Talonflame. I don't know why more people don't use it. Every time I use it, it's good. Fake Out, it gets Parting Shot now, screens. It's still the best screen setter. I know people are saying like Cuff Key and other things like, but Grimmsnarl is just so good, man. Spirit Break, it gets Elemental Punches, False Surrender for Dark type attack. It can, completely ruin the Indeedee Armor Root strategy with Misty Terrain, stop Amoonguss with Misty Terrain. People are sleep on this Pokemon. Actually, I think it's like, I won't say better than Talonflame. Actually, I think Gyarados and Garchomp are better than Talonflame. Right? But it's like, it's so good. It's so good. Like, these are really good utility Pokemon, right? And they're good every time. Like, actually, Hatterene is going to go at the top of decent most of the time. Same with Sylveon. They're decent most of the time because they can be hard stopped by Steel type Pokemon. So they're decent most of the time. So we're going to put those back there. I feel like they're on par with like Garganacl. Wug Trio. Y'all already know where this is going. This is an LOL Pokemon. This Pokemon's hilarious. They made this Pokemon look so goofy and you think it could do something. It literally can't do anything. But if you lose to it, it's because somebody was really creative and came up with a strategy that's going to make you laugh when you lose to it. This Pokemon, I thought this was good. I thought the Sucker Punch Dark Terror could be good. Then I realized you can just use Chien-Pao and do the same thing. Right? It does have the cool ability, like it gets 3 stabs because it gets stabbed on rock with its ability. But it's better Pokemon than it, right? So just, I put it right here. Palafin. Now we're going to rank these separately. So Palafin is decent most of the time in baby form. It still does, I put it right there upon my, it does damage. Water Terror, Wave Crash, Water Terror, Jet Punches are still doing a lot of damage to Pokemon that are frail. It can still go for Haze, and if they try to go for Donzo strategy turn 1, it can haze them. Right? It's still good. Right? It's decent most of the time. And this is the baby form, Palafin, right? When it comes back in its hero form, it's top tier. It's right there with Amoonguss. Actually, it might be better than Amoonguss. This thing is just so good. Jet Punches, Water Terror does so much damage. Only thing slow it down really is Ice Spinner. I mean, not Ice Spinner, Psychic Terrain. But if you have Ice Spinner on like Dragonite or with Chien-Pao next to it, then you get around that. Like, Palafin is so good. It kind of, like, in this format, in the past 2 format, it's dominating these formats kind of like Zacian dominated Sword and Shields formats that it was in. It's like, it's the main physical attacker that does the most damage. And you gotta you don't really build your team with counters for it, but you find out ways to deal with it within the team. Kind of like Zacian. Like you just bring Intimidate, try to intimidate it. Pokemon that resist it, right? Reverum. I think this Pokemon's LOL. Actually, yeah, it's LOL. I mean, it gets a little tune-up move to where you can boost its speed and its attack, but it's 4 times weak to ground. It gets intimidated if you don't run Clear Amulet. It's just doing no damage. But if you lose to it, it's kind of funny because this thing was like, I think it's LOL because in the story mode, one of them, I think it might have been the fire one, was just doing so much damage to me as a boss. I could not beat it. And this is like early on in the game. I think I challenged it too soon, and I used up like so many healing like recovery things in the end game mode. I just could not beat it. Cyclizar. This Pokemon is unexplored. I'm gonna go with should you really be using this, because if you want to use Shed Tail, use Earthworm. It's just a dragon type Pokemon. It's faster. It's a faster Shed Tail. I think it's unexplored though, so I'm gonna put it right here. I think it has the potential to be good. Earthworm. People are asleep on this Pokemon. This is good every time. I know how to beat this with the teams that I've been using, but I know that a lot of people struggle against this thing. I'm gonna put it's like a Zoomer. Like it's pretty good. It does its job well. It's really good next to Ting Lu. It's bulky. It can one-hit KO Flutter Mane. It's good. Sableye completely shut down by Psychic Terrain. It gets screens, but it's its worst Grimmsnarl. If it's worse Grimmsnarl, then why would you be using this over Grimmsnarl? Should you really be using this? Banette, this thing is just bad. Yeah, it's bad. Go right there. What's this thing's name? I know some people are gonna be upset at me because this is like a Pokemon that people love. I can't remember its name. I didn't even know it was in this game. I know it was in Sword and Shield when I first saw it. Phalanx, that's his name. I was never gonna guess that. I completely forgot it. It's a LOL Pokemon. I think it looks funny. It looks goofy. It goes for the no retreat strategy. If you lose to it, you're not going to be mad you lost. You're going to be like, okay, my opponent was creative and he beat me with this Pokemon. And that's the thing about the LOL strategies, right? Like, these are Pokemon that you lose to that you're not mad you lost to, because you're like, wow, did I really just lose to that? And it's kind of funny to you. You get what I'm saying? All right, Halucha. This thing just popped off in a regional. It just showed that it's really good. I'm going to put it in decent most of the time. I think it has a high skill ceiling. It is good next to Indeedee. So you could use it next to Indeedee. Steel Terror, Swords Dance, Flying Press, hits with fighting coverage and flying coverage, which is a unique move. I think it's not. I think it might be the only move, or maybe it might be one other that hits you for two different types in one move. Like it might be the only one. I'm not sure. But I don't want to say that it is, because I'm still just coming back playing Gen 8, but I've used all the Pokemon that are in Gen 8, and a lot of them are in Gen 9. So, all right, Spiritomb. It used to be a broken Pokemon before Fairies existed, right? Because it had no weaknesses. It's not that good right now. It's pretty bad. Don't use it. Noivern, one of the coolest Pokemon I saw when I came back to play Gen 8. I thought it was a Gen 8 Pokemon. Turns out it's a Gen 6 Pokemon. I went back and played the Gen 6 game and I put it on my team. It was amazing, but it's really bad. Like, it does get Tailwind. So it's really fast and it gets Tailwind. So I'll put it here. Like, should you really be using this Tailwind over other Pokemon that get priority Tailwind, or just bulky Tailwind, or like Salamence with Intimidate Tailwind, which is Salamence is outclassed. It gets Intimidate and it's a bulkier dragon, right? And they're both 4 times weak to ice. Dragapult, one of the fastest Pokemon, the fastest relevant Pokemon in the format. If you sleep on it, Choice Band Dragon Darts does a lot of damage. It's just like Scizor, like you can't ignore it. I would say it's better than Baby Palafin, so I'll put it above it. Because Baby Palafin's pretty good, and it's just a water type, but I don't know what makes it so good, but it's decent. Like, I've seen games to where like it wins them the game because it surprises somebody with a Water Terror Jet Punch turn 1 with a double up into something and KOs it immediately, especially like Flutter Mane. Glamor is so good. Like, its ability, getting like with Dondozo, getting stuff poison, whittling things down, Mortal Spin, immediately poisoning them, breaking sashes. It's a perfect sash breaker. It makes hazards in VGC viable because of this Pokemon. It's good. I'm gonna put it like, it's good every time I see it, and it's really good. I'm gonna put it right there with like Mimikyu. It's a really good Pokemon. High special attack stat. Tear it to ground, to grass. It can survive a lot of stuff. Rotom Fan. It's pretty bad. It gets Levitate, but it's bad. Rotom Frost. Snow is one of the best weathers right now, but I haven't seen a snow team built around Rotom Frost. It's still bad. Rotom Heat. Really good Zacian counter back in Gen 8. Haven't really good in the Ferrothorn. Ferrothorn's not in this format. There's not a lot of grass types in this format that are like issues. So I'm gonna say it's should you really be using this fire type? Since it doesn't really like counter things that are common. It can resist Chiyu, but it can't really one-shot Chiyu. I don't even know if Thunderbolt 2-hit KO. It might be a 3-hit KO because Chiyu's especially bulky. So should you really be using this over other fire types? I know it's not bad though. Rotom Grass, same as the other two Rotoms. It's not good. It might be better than those two though, because Grass. Actually, since it can one-shot, Iron Bundle, and it's good. Like you can keep going. Like Dunzo can't, if it's bulky, Dunzo can't hit it with an Earthquake. It can't Wave Crash or resist it. It's a good counter into like water type. So that I'm gonna put it. It's actually better than I just said. Now that I think about it, I'm gonna put it here. Because should you really be using it over other counters? But if you want to make it work, it can have a niche. It can irritate some of your opponents. Rotom Wash is the best Rotom appliance. It's always good. Water electric coverage is good. Every time I see it, it's a good Pokemon. Can't be hit by ground moves. You never even think about it having a ground weakness, even though it's supposed to. It's only weak to grass. It's a really good Pokemon. Grass is not that common in this format, so it's hard to hit it super effectively. Houndstone, it's decent most of the time. I would say, why would you use this over Lycanroc? Because Lycanroc's just the better Sandstorm Sweeper, but it has its own niche. It's more of the support. If it can surprise you with last respects, it's fast. It can Will-O-Wisp you. It can Snarl you. It can be pretty annoying. So, Oranguru, a really good Trick Room Sweeper. And I say Trick Room Sweeper because it gets Instruct. So it's like it makes your Pokemon attack twice. So instead of it attacking, it makes the Pokemon next to it attack twice, which makes this a good Trick Room Sweeper. It's a good setter. It's right there. Actually, I think it's better than Bronzong, so it's going to go right there. Again, these are my opinions. Passimian, Scarf Knockoff is for singles. We're not playing singles. Passimian is pretty bad. It's about the same as Heracross. Tyranitar. Tyranitar is top tier. Tyranitar, Assault Vest just tanks Flutter Mania's attacks. Like, it's so good. Terror in the flying Terror Blast. I've seen Ground Terror with Earthquake, really good. I'm planning on building a team around that. I love Tyranitar. I love Sand right now. It's my favorite archetype. And I'm using Tyranitar. I've seen like how good it is. Like, follow up with Assurance plus Rock Slide. Like, these two it's actually better than Lycanroc because it enables Lycanroc. Like, these two are so good to me, right? Like, they're you really have to deal with them. Stonjourner. This Pokemon slept on. It powers up your opponents. Every time I see it, it does what it's supposed to do. It's kind of like Oranguru, right? It's a little bit better than Oranguru. It does what it's supposed to do when it's there. Actually, this might be like a Zumros level. It does what it's supposed to do. It helps out its teammates. It boosts their attacks, either special or physical attack. Focus Sash, it gets Wide Guard. It can be annoying. You always expect it to Wide Guard, then it just doesn't go for Wide Guard, and it goes for Rock Slides, which does mad damage because that's decent attack stat. It's good. Ice Cube, single strategy with the Ice Face. If you lose to this in doubles, you're gonna laugh because it's gonna be kind of funny. It's a LOL Pokemon. It even looks funny. Like, look how goofy it is. It's a funny Pokemon. What is this thing called? I know it enables electric terrain. I forgot what its name is. Like Paturin, or something like that. What is this? electric. Pinchurin. Yeah, Pinchurin. Am I saying that right? Yeah. So it can enable like the future Pokemon, but nobody uses it to enable them. It can be good, but nobody uses it. I'm gonna put it in should you really be using it, because there's not really anything that can do its niche besides like maybe electric terrain or iron bundle. Since it's fast with booster energy, it can kind of get terrain up quick. So should you really be using this over electric terrain bundle? And either electric terrain bundle is not even common. So since that's not common, like why would you be using this? I kind of put it like right there with Hippowdon, where like it just gets outclassed. Sandy, is it Sandy Gas? It's saying something, right? What's the name of this Pokemon? Sandy Gas is the evolved form. Palisand. Don't use this. It has the water ability, but it still takes. It gets a boost. If it was like, what this should have had was like, we'll make it on tier where Doc spawn. It would go right here. If its ability made it immune to water, it would be just like Doc spawn. It got the defense boost from being immune to water, but it still takes damage from water. So why would you use that? And it's getting wrecked by water just to get a defense boost. And they used to have like a strategy where you Dynamax it, and then it goes next to the Exceligere, the bug, and it goes to like Water Shuriken, which doesn't do that much damage, but there's no Dynamax here. Slowbro, it's an Eviolite potential Pokemon. I've seen it like enable like with Surf, like enable like weakness policy Torkoal and stuff. It can be good if you put an Eviolite on it. It's not the worst. Slowbro. Believe it or not, this Pokemon I used it in Sword and Shield like as a like for fun, but like towards the end of Sword and Shield just to find like a Zacian counter. It resists Zacian's Behemoth Blade. It resists Sacred Sword, and it can eat the play rough. And then you can go for iron defense, yawns, body presses. Zacian can't really remove this fast, but then you realize that Zacian is like a teammate with like a special teammate can just remove it. But for this, that's Gen 8. For this game, like it's a Psychic Trick Room user. You know, why would you use this over other Trick Room users, right? So I would say it's like right here. It does get yawned though. Slow King, same thing. I think Slowbro's better than it, but why would you use this over Slowbro? And then why would you use Slowbro? Gastrodon, its time is coming. It's a very good Palafin counter. Palafin doesn't have any other coverage moves, just water, then it completely walls it. I think it's really good. I think it's decent most of the time. Put in the right position, it can wall with a fire turret. It can wall iron bundle. That's what I used to use it for, to wall iron bundle. I got a video coming out soon where I'm going to be using Cloyster. It's kind of similar to Fortress where it gets the Rock Blast, and it can, if you go for a Terror Shell Smash, it can start sweeping like some of the Ruin Pokemon. It's underrated. I haven't revealed it yet, so I'm gonna say should you really be using this over other like water types or ice types? But I know in practice that it can be good. I just haven't made a video for it yet, so we're gonna put it right there. Don't sleep on Cloyster. Quillfish. Potential, it has Intimidate, so why would you use it over other Intimidator users? Once it gets Eviolite, I know it like it's another similar thing to this and Ursaring, that its evolved form it exists, but it's not in the game, so I don't know if it can use Eviolite yet. So we're gonna put it right here, like, you know, like why would you use it Intimidate until it gets Eviolite? Then it might be a lot better. I love this. Like, come on, now, this is bad Pokemon. Really bad Pokemon. Lumineon. This gets Tailwind, so I put it here. Because, like, why would you use this over other Tailwind users? Bruxus. Now, this is the one I want to reveal. Now, don't sleep on this Pokemon. I'm putting this in decent most of the time. Right, I'm actually putting it right next to Colossal because this does what Serena does, where it blocks priorities, just like Farigiraf. And a lot of people don't know that it blocks priorities, so they try to fake out Colossal. And I put safety goggles on this, and I just go for Aqua Jets into that, and I get my Colossal boosted up. And they try to Rage Powder and fake out. Like, they do so much that they just realize they can't do with this Pokemon, and it's really good. Like, I like it. If you want to see me use it on video, just go through my video and look for the Colossal video. I made 2 videos using these 2 together. Alama Mola, it's bulky. That's it. It's pretty bad. It's better than Love This though. I don't know why Love This doesn't evolve into it, so Love This gets Eviolite. But it's pretty bad. Like, it can't really do nothing. Dragalge, Trick Room special attacker is pretty bad. I'd say it's better than that though. It's bad. Clawitzer, in theory it should be good. It's a bad water type. It's not bulky. It can hit for a lot of damage like pulse moves, dark pulse, water pulse, but just use Palafin if you're gonna use a water type attack. Water type attacker. This thing, Electros, Levitate, Electric. It doesn't deal much damage, so like it's kind of like Caparaja. Like, should you really be using it? Toxapex, the Gen 8 singles GOAT. It's kind of annoying and I wouldn't say decent. Should you really be using this over other annoying walling Pokemon? Just use Glamora if you want to poison stuff and like make stuff hit your shield and take damage and stuff with poison them. Glamora is just a better upgraded version of this. More offensive, but still has the same poison annoyance. So why would you use this over Glamora? So I put it right here next to that. It's a good spot. Flamingo. Flamingo's better than the Co-Star ability is really good. It's niche, but if you just go with Focus Sash or Wide Guard, Close Combat and Brave Bird are like really powerful, like stabs. Don't sleep on this Pokemon. I put it right next to like other Wide Guard users. Like it's a really good Pokemon. Also, it gets faint. So this is one thing that I think it can be good. If you want like Dragonite but bulky version without the 4 times weakness to ice, you could put like an Eviolite on this. I think this can be good. I don't know if nobody's ever tried it. I think I may try it, but it can be bulky. Dragonite, top tier. It's a top tier Pokemon. I think it's better than Tyranitar. They both do the same thing, kind of with Assault Vest and being like strong physical attackers. But it can't be intimidated. It can be bulkier than Tyranitar with multi-scale. It gets Tailwind. Choice Band Extreme Speed with Chin Power is amazing. It's a really good Pokemon. Immune to Earthquake, so you can quake next to it. It's a really good Pokemon. Frostmoth. I don't want to say it's LOL because I've seen it like win games. It's a good ice type, but it can go for Blizzard and like Quiver Dance, but like Arm Bundle's just faster than it, right? So should you really be using this over Arm Bundle? No. Obama Snow, really good snow setter. I think snow's the best weather right now. I think it's better than Pelipper. It helps you beat Dondozo. You can go for Roarville, Leech Seed, Ice Shard. It's a good Pokemon. I think it's better than Pelipper. So we'll put it right here next to Pelipper, but better. Delibird. I can't believe they made your new future version so good though. Delibird is a meme. Like, if you lose to this dude, like, I don't know what you're doing. You might not need to be playing competitive. Beartic, Snow user, Snow Rush user. Like Rush users are not even good right now. As far as like snow and like rain. But if you are going to use a snow Pokemon, just use Excalibur, right? So why would you use this, right? I'll put it right here behind the rain users. Just use Excalibur. Glalie, good in singles with the Moody. I don't really think it's good in doubles. We'll put it right here next to Clodsire. Frostlass, Focus Sash, Destiny Bond. It's kind of niche. Should you really be using it? I don't think you should. It's not that good. Corregano, Sheer Cold, Freeze Dry, Fast, Flash Cannon, Haze. It does get Haze now. Now Haze is gonna make me put it at the top. Like, should you really be using it? I'll put it up here. Right here. Thunder Break Low. It's actually decent. Icy Wind too. It's the Titan, the better snow user than Baratic, but it's not better than Excalibur. Should you really be using this over Excalibur? I don't think so. So it puts the Titan right there. Avalog, this is just bad. Don't use it. It can't do anything. I can't think of anything that it can do. Like, it's just bad. Don't use it. Braviary, slept on Pokemon, immune to ghost type attacks. It can eat a Moonblast if you invest specially or give it an Assault Vest. I'm actually going to try to build something around it. I think it's decent. It makes them... People think that they can just bring Intimidate and think they can just deal with it, and they underestimate how good it can be. So we'll put it right here, Western Brown. It can be good. Don't sleep on it. Bisharp. My old favorite Pokemon. That was in Sword and Shield. Since Infernape is my favorite Pokemon, it hasn't been in the game. Bisharp was my favorite, and that was until they made King Gambit. Now King Gambit is my favorite in the game until Infernape comes back, right? So Bisharp, it does get Eviolite. So we'll put it like right here, out of respect for how much I used to love this Pokemon, just the way it looks like a Power Ranger, and I used to love Power Rangers. But it gets Eviolite, but why would you use it over King Gambit? It does get Defiant, but King Gambit is just stronger, hits harder, can be just as bulky with like Assault Vest. King Gambit, in my opinion, is good every time. It's up there with Gyarados, and it might be better than all of them, in my opinion. King Gambit is actually to be honest, King Gambit is top tier. It discourages Intimidate. It can Terra to get away from the 4 times weakness to fighting. Sucker Punch. Terra Flying is good on it. Terra Fire is good on it. Terra Dark, which is one of the strategies I used recently with Black Glasses and Swords Dance, with how Arcanine is amazing. I love this Pokemon. It's really good. Really good. It's the Pokemon that I have next to me when my battle starts up too. Hydreigon Series 1 GOAT fell off a cliff. It's not bad, but it's other Dragon types better, other Levitite users better. Should you really be using this over anything else? I don't think so. This is a hate fish, right? What is that called? I know it has like some type of sushi like boost or something like that. It can boost itself up, but it's pretty weak. I don't see nobody using it, but I don't know how strong it can be. Veluza. What's that move that it gets? Fillet away. Yeah, so it raises attack and special attack and speed by 2 for half of his health. Kind of like a Shell Smash, but for half of your health. I feel like it's not explored enough. I don't want to say it's bad. So I'll put it right here with Scope Villain, where it's like it just hasn't been explored. Like, so should you really be using this? Actually, I'll put it like behind Cloister. Should you really be using this over anything else that can boost itself up? Dondozo, let's just say it. S tier Pokemon. This thing doesn't even need Tatsugiri to be S tier or top tier. The Unaware, Yawn, Fissure, Rest, Rest, Fissure, Unaware set is pretty nasty. Or it can stay on the field and just KO Pokemons. It can go for Wave Crash, Order Up. Beautiful ability. This Pokemon is great, man. Like a lot of people have been using it next to Tinglu without Tatsugiri, and it still like does this job. Tatsugiri, we could rank them together since you don't really use them, but I've seen people use Tatsugiri with Storm Drain. I'm gonna say Tatsugiri is good every time because let's just think about Tatsugiri outside of Dondozo. Choice Scarf, Focus Sash, Draco Meteor is still doing a lot of damage, right? It's not gonna sweep whole teams, but Icy Wind and things like that, it can cause you to win games. It can still be a decent Pokemon after Dondozo is gone, right? So we're gonna put it in good every time. It's still a good Pokemon on its own. We're not talking about them together because together, of course, they're top tier. But Dondozo, actually, let's put Dondozo. Let's put it here. Actually, it might be the top of good every time, right? Because when they're together, they're top tier. Since they're not together, we won't put them top tier. But Dondozo is still just so good on its own. It's like Quagsire, but even better, right? Tusk, top tier Pokemon. Better than all of these. Tusk, ground and fighting is like the best dual typing for like offensively. I think the only thing better than that might be Fairy and ground. At just like hitting everything for like neutral, super effective. Like flying types do resist it, but then you think Tusk has such a high attack, it can tech on rock type attacks or like Ice Spinner and still like deal with flying type attacks, and it's just so good. Like it's such a good Pokemon. It's very good with Flutter Mane. This next to Flutter Mane kind of reminds it reminds people of what Groudon and Xerneas used to be back in the day, and I didn't get to play during that time. But I heard that it was like very oppressive and hard to beat Xerneas and Groudon, and it's kind of like Flutter Mane and Tusk kind of like give that feel like Fairy and ground. Screamtail. This Pokemon is broken. I'm gonna say good every time. I'll put it right there with Earthworm. Actually, it might be a little bit. It might be up there with like Torkoal. This thing, like Encore Disable, is so threatening. Parasong, Booster Energy. This Pokemon is slept on. It's crazy because it's one of the Pokemon that people know is good and still sleep on it, and still don't respect the Encore Disable, and they still like lose to it. Like even I've been victim of that. Like it's a very good Pokemon. Brute Bonnet. Brute Bonnet. Everybody thought it was gonna be the better Amoonguss. It turns out that Amoonguss is still better. It still can spore you. I think it might be top of decent. Rage Powder can be bulky. It's the offensive version of Amoonguss, but Amoonguss still like does what it's supposed to do better. Because you can't decide whether you want to be offensive or completely defensive. You kind of like dip into both, and it causes it to not be like good at excel at either one, but just to be decent at both. You know. I think if you fully invest into like defensive like that, then you just rather use Amoonguss. Then if you fully invest into attack and don't do anything else, then you're kind of like missing, you know, the spores type strategy. So that's why I say people like to go like both, like attack and defensive. But that makes it just decent, right? Flutter Mane. We already know this is the best Pokemon in the game right now. It's even better than Palafin. This Pokemon, it's on every team. Like it's so good. Like the Fairy and Ghost is so hard to switch into. Specs, Booster Energy. Haven't seen Safety Goggles, but Focus Sash. It's always one of those three items. It's such a good Pokemon. It's on every team. Whenever you have like see two Pokemon led in the front and they have Flutter Mane on their team, always know Flutter Mane's in the back. It's always in the back. Like people are never leaving this on the bench. Like if they don't lead it, it's in the back, man. Like it's always gonna come. It's one of the best Pokemon ever. I want to see how it does when Zacian comes back, because Zacian is outspeeds it in one shot. So with Behemoth Blade, it can't really deal with the Ghost type attacks, and also Incineroar is gonna kind of wall it too, and then snarl it to death. So we'll see how it does when Incineroar and Zacian, if they come to the game, if it still can like stand up to that. I don't think it can, and we're gonna see like a shift into like the field looking kind of like Series 10, with Terra, and a lot of these Pokemon are just gonna get invalidated when they come. Like, but we'll see how it turns out and what can still stay viable. Slitherwing, Fighting and Bug is good coverage. I say it's like right here. Terrifier and the Sun team, this can do some work, but should you really be using this over regular Volcarona or over Great Tusk as a fighting type attacker? I think it does bug type things better than Scizor. because of first impression. But I mean, people are gonna know you want to go for first impression. They're just gonna protect around it. I think it can be interesting to lead this next to Flutter Iron Bundle, and then go for first impression, force them to have to protect, and then encore them because you know they're gonna have to protect or eat the first impression. So I think it can be decent like that. Sandy Shocks, special type, ground type attacker. It's decent most of the time. It is better than Baby Palafin in my opinion with booster energy. Actually, it's better than all these. I put it like right here. It's a good Pokemon. Grass Terror, giving it energy. Grass Terror Blast is pretty good. Iron Threads. This is the Pokemon I'm currently using on one of my teams with Gyarados. It's okay. Should I really be using this though? I'm using it because I'm just trying out every Paradox Mon. I'm the type of player that likes to try like all the certain special Pokemon, like to make them work or build a team around them. And so I have built a team around it. So like it is okay, but should you really be using it over Great Tusk? It's not bad, but it's not the best, you know. It can one hit KO Flutter Mane, so I guess that's something. Iron Bundle is definitely top tier. It's not as good as Flutter Mane, but it's right up there. I would say it's better. I would say it's better than Great Tusk. Encore, the new snow teams that are coming out with the Blizzard Spam. I've used the team with Blizzard Spam with King's Rock, so you can flinch or get the freeze. It's amazing, man. It's really good. I like it. Iron Hands. Series 1 and 2 was top tier. Well, it wasn't in Series 1. Series 2, it was top tier. I think it's good every time now. I think it's right there. I think it's better than Jump Love. Fake Out, bulky. Trick Room Sweeper, doesn't need to be in Trick Room, deal damage. Thunder, fighting coverage. It's the second best fighting type behind Great Tusk, right? These three can do fighting moves, low kicks, and close combat. And low kicks, like 3 low kicks in close combat. But, well, actually, Annihilate is the best fighting type, right? Then Great Tusk. So it's the third best fighting type. But like I said, like this can get close combat. These mons can also get fighting coverage, so you don't have to use Iron Hands. But I think it is the third best fighting type. So if you can find a reason to use it, because it does have Fake Out and electric coverage over these two, then you can. Iron Jugulis, booster energy, Tailwind, Snarl. It's decent most of the time. I think it's just like Bluebonnet. It's pretty good. Don't sleep on it. Iron Moth. I think it's decent most of the time. I don't think it's as good as those two, so we'll put it like right here. The Acid Spray next to Flutter Mane is really threatening, but this has booster energy and Flutter Mane like choice specs. Like you're gonna one shot everything. Like it's kind of like the old like Fake Tears with Grimmsnarl plus like Dialga strat. Like just one shot everything with Dynamax Dialga. It kind of reminds me of that. It's really good. Iron Thorns. It's not that good, man. It might be the worst Paradox. I used a set that was fun in Series 2, Regulation B, with Loaded Dice and Bug Terror with Pin Missile. I got a couple wins with it. It's fun. Actually, this might... I want to say it's LOL because do that, but I don't want to put a Paradox Pokemon in the meme. But I'll say it's not better than these two. Actually, this might be better than Slitherwing, right? These three are probably the worst 3 Paradox Pokemon. But they're still like Paradox Pokemon, so they're better than a lot of these. You know what I'm saying? So we'll put them there. Excalibur. This Pokemon is better than Garchomp, in my opinion. I'm going to put it above Garchomp. I think it's better than Garchomp. It beats Garchomp. It's very bulky. It's higher physical attack. It's an ice type, so it's really good in the snow. It's one of the first ice types that you don't really... Maybe because Terra exists, but you don't really like think that it's ice type. It's ice typing holds it back. Like when you used to think about ice types in other generations, you're like, okay, it's ice, so that holds it back. It's not good. But because snow got a buff, and because you can tear this away from ice, this is like this might be like the best ice type ever. Like it does like what the Kyrums want to do, even better. Like Kyurem Black, Kyurem White. does what they want to do better. This being like an ice dragon. But who knows how good Kieran would be in a restricted format when you can tear it. Because I used to love Kieran White. But it just got one shot by Zacian, which made it hard to use. Gholdengo, it's still top tier. I would say it was one of the best Pokemon in Series 1. Maybe top 10 in Series 2. I think in this series it's top 20. It's still really good. I think it's better than King Gambit. I think it's better. I don't think it's better than Tyranitar, but I put it right here. It's still a top tier Pokemon. It's really good. Can't go wrong with it. I love Gholdengo. I love how it's surfing on the surfboard. It's probably my third favorite Pokemon overall after Infernape and King Gambit, and my second favorite that's currently in the game. Wo-Chien. I think it's good every time. I think it's underestimated how good it is. I think it's just like Screamtail, where people forget about what it can do and don't like play the game in a way where they can deal with it, and then they just close out the game in the end game, which makes it pretty good and it's pretty threatening. All right, here we go. Chien-Pao. So we already know this is S tier. This is a dark type Pokemon, ice. I don't think it's because these Pokemon beat it. I think it's right here. I think because it's so frail that kind of holds it back that you have to run a Focus Sash with it. You can run Life Orb, but then you're kind of vulnerable to getting one shot by a lot of different things. It enables like a lot of physical attackers like Dragonite, Palafin, Arcanine, Great Tusk, Annihilate, King Gambit. Like it does its job well by enabling them and stand on the field with Protect and Focus Sash, but you need that Focus Sash, right? It's a strong Pokemon. It's changing the meta right now. I want to see how well it does when the restrictors come, and how it fits alongside like other like powerful Pokemon. Ting-Lu, I think, is going to be the best when the restrictors come, just enabling like restrictors to stay on the field longer and other Pokemon to survive against the restrictors, like keeping them from being so oppressive. I think that's what his abilities are going to be good for. Right now, it's like a little overpowered. Ting-Lu's definitely S. I want to say I think it's better than Iron Bundle. I think it is the best Ruin Pokemon, so we're gonna put it right there. This Pokemon is crazy, man. Like it stays on the field, survives everything. If you want to go for Fissure, you can. Sand Tomb, Assault Vest on it. Ruination cuts you in half, so even if you're intimidated, it still cuts your Pokemon's HP in half. Stumping Tantrum, if he missed a Fissure, you go for Stumping Tantrum. It makes it 150 base power. It's beautiful. It's a very well-built Pokemon. Like it's gonna withstand the test of time. When the power level goes up and like the restrictors come, you're still gonna see this, right? I think you'll probably just see just these two when the power level goes up, because this is gonna enable like Zacian, and then this is gonna stop like a lot of the Kyogre stuff, like tearing this into grass and like reducing Kyogre's like water spout is gonna be pivotal, like surviving against that. We're gonna need these to deal with the Terra Water restricteds, like the restricteds that double dip into their main stab due to the Terra. We're gonna need like the Ruins to, and I don't even think that Wo-Chien can stop Zacian. So that's why I'm not saying it will, but this will help stop the special attacking restrictors for sure. It's gonna be here, I guarantee you. Chi-Yu, just like Chien-Pao, drops the other side of the defense. Not the physical defense, the special defense, but I think Chien-Pao's better. We're going to put it right here. It's still a top tier Pokemon. It's threatening. It causes Flutter Mane to one-shot things. It can run Scarf, Focus Sash, Safety Goggles, Water Terror. It can run Grass Terror, Terra Blast. It's a good Pokemon, man. It's a good Fire type. I don't see any Fire types above it, so it is the best Fire type in my opinion. Arcanine's above it. Arcanine is a fire. I guess Arcanine is the best fire type right now, but it's debatable which one of these are the best fire type in the format. You can go either way. If you want a defensive fire type, you go with Arcanine. If you go with offensive fire type, you go with Chi-Yu. You go with support fire type, you go with Talonflame. And Arcanine does support better than Talonflame, so Arcanine can do both. It can be defensive support and offensive. But Incineroar just invalidates And Incineroar invalidates both of these as soon as it comes back. Well, I guess you can hit it with Sacred Sword, drop its defense. So you can kind of deal with it with this with a Terra into like fighting. But Chi-Yu is done once Incineroar comes. Like, you can't do nothing against it. Roaring Moon. This was so good in Series 2. It took falling off a cliff. But it can be good. Don't underestimate it. I'm going to put it in. It's better than Brute Bonnet in my opinion. Actually, it's still decent. So I'm going to put it. Do I have another Ruin in here? Paradox. I'll put it. I think Screamtail's better. I'll put it like right behind Mimikyu. It's still pretty good. It knows what it's doing. I think the Tailwind plus Flying Terror and Booster Energy and Acrobatics, I think that set is kind of weak. I did try it. I feel like it gets intimidated, doesn't do enough damage. I think Terroring this into like Steel, Fire, or Ground Terror and going for like Dragon Dance stuff like that makes this really threatening. I think that makes it better. I think the flying Acrobatics Terror is kind of outdated, so don't go for that. Right, and our last Pokemon is going to be Arm Valiant. This Pokemon is slept on. Fairy fighting coverage is really good. It can be a physical attacker or a special attacker. It can have Moonblast. It can have Spirit Break. It can have Focus Sash. It can tear into a ghost to get Shadow Sneak. It can play just like Mimikyu. I think it's better than Mimikyu actually. I'm gonna put it right here with Roaring Moon. I think it is slept on. I think because you have to tear it to get the Shadow Sneak to do the damage that Mimikyu does, and it's also less because Mimikyu has disguises makes it Mimikyu bulkier than this. So I don't think it's better than Mimikyu, but I think it can play just like Mimikyu. It can surprise your opponents. And I had a team that I just played with on my channel. If you want to go check it out, look at the Iron Valiant. Iron Valiant video where I used a special version with Moonblast, Aura Spear, and Energy Ball next to Chi-Yu, and it just does so much damage next to Chi-Yu. Alright, so this is going to be my list. So this is my top tier, so let's just, go through it. Fluttermane is the best Pokemon in the format right now. Palafen's number 2. I think Amoonguss number 3. We have Annihilate, Tinglu, Iron Bundle, Great Tusk, Arcanine, Chien-Pao, Chi-Yu, Gothitelle, Dragonite, Tyranitar, Goldango, Lycanroc, and King Gambit. That's my top tier. This will go in top tier if you combine it with Tatsugiri. And these Pokemon, I feel like these two rows are the Pokemon you're going to see the most in the format. Not necessarily these right here. And also Tinkaton. But that's because people just don't really know how to use them like that. But they're all still good Pokemon. And then these are the ones that are going to be just some complimentary ones that you can get away with, that you can do some niche things with. They're decent some of the time. A lot of the time they're going to get outclassed, but they're not bad Pokemon. And these are going to be the ones that I feel like you can use them, but should you really be using them over any of the ones in the top 3 sections, right? And this is going to be my list. And this is the ones I feel like are all the bad Pokemon that are like fully evolved or have Eviolite, just don't use them. These are my mean Pokemon. I feel like these are funny to lose to or funny to play with and win with. I feel like they're not annoying. I feel like they can make people laugh, and they're funny Pokemon. I feel like these are the ones that could be decent with an Eviolite that you could make work, but they'll still probably be bad, but they're not completely unviable like the ones under here that are just unviable even with Eviolite or anything like that. Well, actually, let me put Riolu. I'm gonna actually because Riolu can get Eviolite and gets Prankster, right? And it gets like coaching. Is coaching even still in the game? Before we go, let me check that out because I'm curious about Riolu. Cause I used to use it next to Calyrex Ice and Sword and Shield, and it was pretty good. Like, does it still get coaching? I haven't seen anything do. Oh, coaching's not in this game. It still has Prankster, right? Yeah. Coaching was really good. So, Helping Hand. No, it can't do nothing with. No. Yeah. Riolu fell out. Coaching was what made it decent. Coaching and Faint. Does it still get Faint? It does get Faint. Okay. So Riolu, I'll put. It's downright bad. It doesn't get anything. I can't do anything. I'll put it right there out of respect of what I know it could do with coaching, with Eviolite, but it can't really do anything, right? So it's just gonna go in there. So these are all the Pokemon I feel like you can't really do anything with. And then these are the 2 banned Pokemon, which are gonna obviously be incredible when they get back to the game. So this is my list. If you like it, leave a like, leave a comment. Let me know if you disagree or agree with any of this. If you want to see more videos of me ranking Pokemon, let me know. I'm gonna start a series like this and just do like ranking different things, different types and stuff like that. This video, of course, is probably gonna be the longest one since I've ranked every Pokemon that's in Scarlet and Violet that's viable. But if you like the video, let me know. And we'll catch you in the next one. Y'all have a good night.